Oh, good, 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 good. It's you're welcome. Is this your first time?
Yes po, I was actually invited by my friend who is also a BPED graduate.
Okay, good, good, good. I hope that you can convince others also to join us. Okay. We'll start in about 7 minutes. Okay, and we'll try to. Eric Wisonga of Africa, are you there? Eric, Continental Director of Africa.
Are you referring to Africa, sir, or another Eric? I'm Eric
Uh,
from the Philippines, the city
oh,
of Ilagan, Isabela, Region
okay,
2.
good, good, good. Okay, yeah, yeah. Sorry, I thought you were from Africa. Or wait, wait, wait.
Hi, Mr. Dennis. How are you?
Yes, yes. I'm trying to help the speaker to come in. To come in. Okay,
Okay,
Mark,
okay.
did you send the email? He's having a hard time getting in. Hello, Mark. Yes. Okay. Yeah. You can ask Mark directly, Coach. Mark, please guide him. Let's just wait for a few minutes. Okay, guys. Guys, I'll close this first. Okay. You talk to each other. Guys, is it very hard for you to come into the platform, guys? Jerome. I just wanted the hello, guys. Paolo, Azarcon, Eric. Is it hard for you guys to come into the platform?
No, it's not.
Okay. Yeah. Jerome. Hello, Jerome.
Yes, sir.
Is
Yes.
it hard for you to come into the platform?
No, it's not. I just click the link, but you have
Okay.
to download the yeah. You have to download the app.
That is
Yeah.
why I told them. Okay. They really need.
Yeah.
But
Maybe.
actually, the Mark said that you can just click it. Okay.
Yeah. You,
Yeah.
you just click it. However, you have to download
Okay.
the
Okay. Okay.
application, the Meet one. Yeah.
Okay, everybody. We would like to. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon. We would like to welcome you, okay, on the UCSSC December 13 edition of the swimming seminar certification for the programs and swim certification on the second session, and third session there will be swim certification again. Okay, we do have a speaker coming from India, and he is the head coach of India, okay, in swimming,
Hi, can
and
you
he
see
has
me?
been there for a long time. Okay, this is the second time that he is helping the UCSSC. Okay, and I would like to welcome and give the floor to the the speaker coming from India. Okay, which is a big populated area in the whole world. Okay, uh, please let's welcome Coach Partha Pratim. Okay, Coach, the floor is yours.
Hi,
My
hello
co-host
everyone.
is Coach Mark of USA. He had been facilitating all of this, okay, for the UCSSC.
Beautiful. Mark, can you turn the presentation, please?
Yes, I can. I can. I'm sorry that we're not able to have you do the
Yeah, beautiful.
slides, but I'll try to keep up with you.
Yeah, the slide is on. I think that's perfect. I can see there are about 8 or 9 attendees, and I think you guys um, uh, are equipped with elite level coaching. Anyone want to speak up?
Yeah, the best way to speak when the presentation's going is with the chat, and this will be
Okay,
recorded, and we'll be able to edit out if there's any fumbles or information that shouldn't be on the recording long time. So a lot of
beautiful.
people do watch later, and then we'll be able to show the slides and have it go. So there is a chat.
Okay, beautiful. So I'll start with what we are going to discuss today, and I've been requested by Coach Dennis and of course Coach Mark about 400 IM and sprint work. These two sounds totally different, and of course they are of different segment. I think different pole of swimming arena or swimming coaching arena, and it'll be fun to discuss about this. Regarding myself, as Coach Dennis already told you, I'm the head coach for our program director for National Center of Excellence, which is jointly ventured by Glenmark Aquatic Foundation and Sports Authority of India. I'm leading this program from the year 2016. We have produced at least, if not less, at least I would say 300 international medal of different kind, more than 45 national records, In fact, recently, just a week back, we went to Dubai. We created 4 best Indian swimming timing, best ever swimming performance in short course. Our swimmers have been to World Championship, Asian Games, and many other uh, disciplines. The good part in the program is we have produced some of the top swimmers in sprinting, some of the top swimmers in mid distance, some of the top swimmers in distance for the country and for representing the nation in different part. If you guys remember last time when we had our Asian Championship or Asian age group in Philippines, some of our swimmers or one of my girl got the gold in one backstroke for the nation, for India. So coming back to the discussion about 400 IM, I'll be privileged to share that yes, we have produced some of the top 400 IM swimmers from the age group level. When we talk about 400 IM, there are certain strategy what we need to incorporate. But before we discuss about 400 IM strategies, let us see the best swimming races and the split in 400 IM. So Mark, can you put the next slide, please? Beautiful. Thank you so much. 400 IM, so-called one of the most difficult swimming. I would say on a different way that 400 IM is one of the most strategic swimming event. If your strategy, your plan and execution is proper, you're going to outperform. If your strategy, plan and execution is not correct, you're going to underperform. Let us see two of the finest 400 IM swimmer of the world ever produced, Michael Phelps and Leon Marchand. If you look at the split, butterfly 54.6, 54.9. Now, interestingly, personal best of Michael Phelps is about 49 in 100 fly, where personal best of Leon Marchand is probably 51, 52, which is far off from Michael Phelps. Then backstroke, if you look at them, the first part of this race, both of these swimmers are very equal. 54, 101, and that's the strategy for 400 IM. When you swim 400 IM, you don't think about the stroke only. You may have a strong stroke, you may have a weak stroke. That doesn't mean that you're going to lose your strategy of putting effort. So effort, we are going to discuss about the effort later. But then you see the thing change once you come to breaststroke or freestyle. As you can see, Leonard was much faster in breaststroke, 107 compared to 110 of Michael Phelps, while Phelps was solid in freestyle, 56 compared to Leon Marchand, 58. They are the two outstanding races. The thing what you can learn from this, in both these races, if you look at it, till backstroke, both the swimmers managed to hold their energy level. All right, they didn't go all out. They can go much faster in butterfly. They didn't go faster. They can go much stronger in backstroke. Yes, they did decent backstroke, but they didn't go very strong in backstroke. They started their game rolling from breaststroke onward, and they're given whatever they have left in freestyle. So strategy is something we need to understand for 400 IM first. Our next slide will point out the strategy what we need to incorporate to develop 400 IM. Is everyone on board regarding this? If anyone have any question at any point in this, please put that thing in the chat. I'll be
Coach,
delighted to see some of the communication. Yeah.
yes,
Yep.
the others are trying to reserve energy on the IM. So normally they think about sacrifice the first 50 to get the 350 going better. Okay, the normal strategy of the 400s.
Absolutely
Well,
correct.
yeah, but others are thinking about the momentum, but others are thinking about the stroke count. What do you think? They just go with the trend like that? Like you're trying to compare the two top swimmers of Coach Bob Bowman. What do you think?
I
That's
think the
20.
strategy wise,
Yeah.
Uh, Thank you,
The
Dennis. I think
the
Hmm.
the 54, he is 51. 51 on the 100 fly. So
Hmm.
basically it's a pace.
Hmm.
Still a pace.
Yes. So the major thing, as you rightly said, the major thing in 400 IM, because remember, what is the difference between 400 freestyle or 1500 freestyle? They said 1500 freestyle is easier to swim compared to 400 IM, or sometimes 200 butterfly is easier to swim compared to 400 IM. The reason of this, and this is important for upcoming coaches to understand. Here, you switch the sequence of muscles. You use all the muscle more or less in swimming, but you switch the sequence of muscle. Whenever you do IM event, you don't repeat the same movement on a constant basis. You vary your gears because from switching from butterfly to backstroke, you vary your gears. Though the muscle segments are similar, but the pressure on certain areas are different. Movement pattern is slightly different. So you switch. So if this is your normal train of movement, you can survive for longer. Always remember this. Any movement which is constant and you're doing the same movement, you can survive for longer. Open water swimmers, an amazing example of that. They maintain very high stroke rate and they can survive for longer because they're doing same movement at a lower intensity level. But when you switch the movement and change the movement, there's always a possibility. Suppose you're doing this movement and suddenly you're changing this movement, and again you're doing that movement, and again you're doing this movement. So whenever there's a switch of movement, the production or the load or muscular load gets higher. It's not like I'm switching the muscles, so probably my other muscle is going to get more rest. It doesn't work like that way. Human body doesn't function like that way. In an intense condition, it's a high challenging environment. Your body, whenever you switch stroke, tend to produce more lactate, right? And it has been tested. Can I see the slide, please? They'll be beautiful. Or yeah, perfect. Uh, so your body in this kind of scenario, where your body needs a good strategy. Why it needs a good strategy? So that you don't get fatigue. How you determine fatigue? You determine fatigue by a product of in your blood, which is called lactic acid. And how you develop lactic acid? When you go towards anaerobic zone of swimming rather than staying in the threshold level of aerobic. Threshold level of aerobic is basically the threshold level of aerobic and anaerobic, which can you can hold it for longer duration. The moment you go above that level, or the moment VO2 max usage of yours is under, you may fail. Now that's very, very important for people to understand. So what we need to do to develop 400 IM, the strategy number one is to develop your aerobic capacity. Aerobic capacity, because as long you're on aerobic, you'll be wonderful. Look at Michael Phelps. Think about his 200 butterfly. Probably in many races, till third 50, he's probably fifth or sixth. He managed to outperform in the last 50 because he want to stay in aerobic or threshold zone or maybe slightly into anaerobic zone till third 50, and then whatever he left, he blast that off in the last 50. So it's very strategical. So for 400 IM, you need to ensure that you can hold higher amount of speed at aerobic level. Once again, higher amount of speed at aerobic level or higher amount of speed at VO2 max level. What is VO2 max? Volume of oxygen. Maximum volume of oxygen your body can use during any activity is basically VO2 max. And to develop that, you need to improve your aerobic capacity. This includes your cardiovascular distribution, your mitochondria density, and all the other activities which ensure that aerobic sustainability at a challenging situation is longer for you. In later, we are going to discuss some of the example of practice. It's going to give you an idea about the aerobic capacity. But in a simple term, in a very simple term, what you need to do is basically low intensity swimming for a longer duration, short interval. You don't let your heart rate go too high but that doesn't mean you're going to do very low heart rate swimming. Generally, what I do, I prefer my swimmer to swim at a heart rate of 22 to 24, which is like on 10 seconds. So we generally check heart rate for 10 seconds. We ask the swimmer to swim at heart rate of 22 to 24, say for a larger amount of distance, and preferably in long axis stroke, which is freestyle and backstroke. Then why I don't do a lot of aerobic work on breaststroke and butterfly in full stroke? Remember, coaches, generally what happens, we come to the second point, efficient stroke. Your stroke efficiency survive with multiple repetition when you do long axis stroke. Once again, let me repeat. Your backstroke stroke mechanics will survive even if you're doing it for 1,000 times. Your freestyle stroke mechanics will survive even if you do 1,000 stroke non-stop. Of course, if you have good amount of aerobic capacity. But your butterfly stroke mechanics will fail, or stroke efficiency will fail after you do certain amount of repetition. Your breaststroke stroke mechanics will fail after you do a certain amount of repetition. So to ensure that your stroke mechanics are efficient, to ensure that your distance per stroke is good, you guys need to ensure that you do more aerobic work or more long distance work on long axis. If you want to do some aerobic work on short axis, do part of it. For example, you can do single arm fly, or you can do butterfly kick, or you can do maybe one right, one left, one butterfly, or freestyle butterfly, a bit of mixture for longer duration. But if you do continuous butterfly for longer duration and assume that that's going to build your aerobic capacity, yes, it will build a bit of aerobic capacity, but it's going to thrash out your efficiency. Your efficiency level of butterfly is going to come down. So lower efficiency will make you slower despite of having heavy, big aerobic capacity base. So my suggestion for any 400 IM swimmers whom you're teaching is to first develop the aerobic capacity by doing a lot of long axis and short axis aerobic work. And there are certain 400 IM specific work which is also going to build aerobic capacity, which I'm going to show you in the upcoming slides, which we will discuss right after this. Now, the second thing is, when we talk about 400 IM, you need to understand first the aerobic capacity, second, your efficiency, stroke efficiency, and how you define good stroke efficiency. Good stroke efficiency means a swimmer should be doing good 200 freestyle, good 200 backstroke, good 200 breaststroke, good 200 butterfly. If a swimmer is decent in all these 4 stroke in 200 meter, which is double than your 400 IM event in each individual stroke, you're going to be more efficient in 400 IM. Always remember that. So if you look at both Leon Marchand or Michael Phelps, they're actually damn good in their 200 freestyle, 200 breaststroke, 200 backstroke, 200 butterfly. You may not have seen Michael Phelps doing 200 breaststroke, but in training, I know I met Bob Bauman once long back, and he's pretty good in double of his racing distance, basically. So they also do a lot of 800. A lot of coaches in the world, in fact, they do a lot of 800 meter IM also in practice. So that if you're equipped with double of distance of your race, you're more comfortable in that. So that is something you guys need to know. Now, while doing this swimming, you need to ensure, I'm not asking if you're doing 800 IM or not asking if you're doing 200 freestyle or 200 backstroke or 200 breaststroke, 200 fly separately, you're going to go all out. But what I'm asking you to do, make sure that your pacing is stable. Your pacing is stable. That means if you're doing 200 freestyle, your second 100 should be stronger than first 100. Try to do negative splitting in practice. If you're doing 200 breaststroke, your second 100 should be stronger than first 100. If you're doing 200 fly, your second 100 should be stronger than first 100. If you're doing 200 backstroke, your second 100 should be stronger than first 100. So whenever you practice IM or IM based practice or to build 400 IM, always remember in the first part of your distance should be slower than the second part of your distance. Ideally, even if you look at the top swimmers in the world, the strategy what they take while swimming, mental strategy, because time outcome and mental strategies are always different. Remember this. Now, for example, if I'm doing 100 butterfly, I'm putting 7 out of 10 effort in the first 50. I'm putting 10 out of 10 in the second 50, though my second 50 timing is going to be slower. Not because I'm not putting enough effort, just because the dive will have more impact. You're more fresh. You're touching with your hand. Turn will take some time. Second one is push and stuff like that. So that's a different strategy. But effort-wise, whenever you do practice IM, always tell your swimmer to put more effort in the second part compared to first part. For example, if you're doing 4 into 100, you make sure that they do slow butterfly in the first 50, strong butterfly in the second 50, slow backstroke in the first 50, strong backstroke in the second 50, slow breaststroke in the first 50, strong breaststroke in the second 50, and so on. I hope I made myself clear. You try to find out the weakness of your swimmers always. And whatever weakness you see, try to incorporate drill to correct it. So it's always important for coaches who want to develop 400 IM swimmer to find the weak stroke and incorporate the drill. And that's the next point. Build endurance, speed, and strength. We already discussed, but incorporate drills are very important to correct or to improvise the weakness and make it to your strongest. If you have some strong stroke, ensure that drill is going to work to make it more efficient. Michael Phelps is super strong in butterfly, but he doesn't go all out in butterfly because with his strongest stroke, he want to be more efficient and save a lot of energy so that that extra energy can be used for the last 100, which is 56 in 100 freestyle. And that's very, very important. And we always need to remember that. Interval, dry land work, all these things are very important. We all know that these are part of it. We don't have, it's a vast chapter. We don't have enough time to discuss that, but I'm sure during practice, you can understand. Now, practicing negative split, faster second half in training by doing sets like 4 into 100 IM at target pace with short rest. So for example, I'm asking a swimmer to do 4 into 100 IM order, butterfly restart in the first week, say 130, backstroke restart, say at 130, breaststroke restart, say at 145, and that's all. And in the second week, the same swimmer will do butterfly restart, say at 125, backstroke restart at 125, breaststroke restart at 140, and freestyle restart. So it's not there, but they need to maintain better timing in that or same timing in that. If they can manage same timing or better timing, reducing the restart slowly and steadily, they're going to incorporate 400 IM in a stronger way. So that's all for this slide. Any doubt, any question till now? You can put it in the chat.
Is everything okay? I can't hear anything anymore.
Coach? Coach, we can't hear anything. Coach, your microphone, there's nothing. No sound.
Part that it's showing.
No sound. Coach Martha. Maybe the problem is the internet there in India. Coach, can you hear us? Coach, can you hear us? Uh, we 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 can't hear you. No, we can't hear you in your presentation. Hello, coach. We can't hear you. Hello, coach. Nothing yet. Yeah, we saw your microphone moving, but nothing yet. Maybe you need to check on your earphones or the microphone. Nothing. You can call on Mark.
Yeah, I'll mute him and then I'll unmute him or ask to unmute. Do you want? Why don't you speak to the training zones, Dennis? I wonder if his microphone just died.
Coach Martha. While Coach Martha is having a hard time getting in with regards to the voice, I think Mark, you can check on how you can help the. Okay, guys. For the meantime, that Coach Martha is having uh time to fix his microphone. Okay, let's try to value the time. E EN1, EN2, EN3 is the levels of endurance. SP1, SP2, SP3 is the levels of speed. Okay, so so anaerobic is SP1, SP2, SP3. Okay, the aerobic is on EN1, EN2, EN3. Okay, EN1, you're talking of the low level of endurance. Okay, EN2, speeding up. EN3, the fast endurance.
Can you hear me?
Yeah. Thank you.
Hello. Beautiful. Sorry, guys.
Okay, I'll give the
I don't
floor
know
to
what
Coach
happened.
Martha.
Thank you. Thank you, Dennis. So, as we are discussing, we don't want to discuss much about energy zone at this point. Just want to give you an idea that when we are training, 400 IM Suma, try to stay more on aerobic threshold zone and high performance endurance zone. Try to stay more or try to set your training more towards aerobic threshold zone and high performance endurance zone because these are the zones which are much more contributor for your 400 IM. Of course, you need to do a bit of anaerobic work like lactic production set that may be at the later part of your season or before your competition. But throughout your year, you mostly need to work on EN3, a bit of VO2 max, a bit of aerobic threshold, and of course, aerobic development is always part of it, right? So that's how you need to work. I think that's very important. Now, coming back to some of the training set, and I think that's very important because all the coaches, they might need to know, okay, I understood all the energy zone, I understood the philosophy, but what is the main factor to what are the training set we can do to make our 400 IM swimmer better than what they are? Can we have the training set, please? Can we have the training set? Yeah, beautiful. So I have already told you that to build your aerobic capacity, you can do long axis continuous swimming for longer duration. You can do 10 400, 6 600, stuff like that, or maybe 3 800 descending with negative split, stuff like that in freestyle. But I have also told you that sometime you also need to do some iron-based work. So I've given you 2 examples of iron-based work, which is more like your aerobic threshold to a little higher EN3 zone. So EN2, EN3 zone, it's more like that. And I think that's going to be very, very helpful for your swimmers. So one of the set, what you can do is like this. You can do 3 into 400 IM at 6 minutes. The restart is just a wake. That's for our swimmers, but you can always change the restart based on the need of your swimmers. Then 600 freestyle cruise. I use the cruise word. That means same stroke rate. The stroke rate should not vary in the 600. So when you do 400 IM, you need to build up at every stroke. At every 100, you need to be negative splits. I hope you know what is negative split. If you don't know, let me tell you. If I'm swimming 100-meter freestyle at 1 minute 10 seconds, my average is 35 seconds. If I'm swimming at negative split, my first 50, if it is 36, second 50 has to be 34. That's called negative splits. I hope that is clear. So negative split, once again, if I'm swimming 100 freestyle at 1 minute 10 seconds, if I go slower in first 50 and my timing in second 50 is stronger, that is called negative split. For example, if I go at 37 seconds and can come back at 33 seconds, my total timing is 110, that's negative split. If I go at 35 seconds and come back at 35 seconds, I call it even pacing, EVEN, even pacing. If I go at 34 seconds and I come back at 36 seconds, that's not negative split. That's not even pacing. That's positive swimming. Okay. So you always try to do negative split in this kind of practice. In every stroke, when you do 400 IM, and from one stroke to another stroke, you build your effort. Build your effort means, in case I'm doing 400 IM, in the first 100 of butterfly, if I'm putting, say, 5 out of 10 effort, backstroke, I need to put 6 out of 10 effort, breaststroke, I need to put 7 out of 10 effort, freestyle, I need to put 8 out of 10 effort. Is that clear? Okay, so the set goes like this. You can do 3 into 400 IM, change at 100, then 600 freestyle, cruise at same stroke rate. Every 100 should have equal timing. Your timing should not go up or down, same timing in all the 100. So that's even pacing for freestyle. Then 2 into 400 IM, again, build up at every stroke, negative split per stroke. And then again, 600 meter freestyle cruise. And then 1 into 400 IM, again, same thing. If you look at it, the restart of every 400 IM in every step is going to get tough. Okay, you're not going all out, but your restart is getting challenging. You're getting less rest. So you're pushing yourself a little more, and it's going to really help you to build up your aerobic capacity. I think it's a good set. You can try for your swimmers. It's really going to help. It's going to be very specific. So we generally say there are 3 phases of training generally: general phase, specific phase, and competitive phase. So these are the things you can use during your specific phase of training. And of course, competitive phase, you can repeat these sets to make it more challenging. The other example I've shown is 400 IM at 6 minutes, and then 12 into 50 fly short rest interval. Now, different swimmers have different speed in different strokes, right? Some swimmer may be very good in butterfly, some swimmer may be very good in backstroke. So that's why I haven't written any rest interval. They should take short rest interval and see what is the minimum short rest interval they can take. For example, your butterfly boy can maintain an average of, say, 32 seconds. So the short rest interval for him can be 40 to 45 seconds. So, limited rest, 10 to 15 second rest, and they should start max 15, between 8 to 15 second rest, not more than that. So 12 into 50 fly at short rest interval. Then again, 400 IM at 6. Again, 6 need to be comfortable. Here, you need to swim at steady pace. So in this 400 IM, you don't need to build up. You just need to do 400 IM at a steady pace. Unlike the previous one, here you need to maintain steady pace. And then 6 into 100 backstroke, challenge your restart. What is the short rest interval you can do? Some swimmer may do a 125 restart interval. Some swimmer may do a 135 rest interval. Some swimmer may do a 1 minute 40 second rest interval per 100. It depends on the swimmer, but they should be challenging themselves. So any short race, they are going to challenge. 400 IM flat, they should be comfortable. no build-up business, no other business, just normal steady 49. Then they need to do 3 into 200 breaststroke. If you look at it, I haven't given straight breaststroke. I'm not a very strong believer that if I'm doing wrong breaststroke for a very longer duration, I'm going to be better. Because generally what happens, breaststroke and butterfly, especially breaststroke, is some stroke which needs a lot of strength, right? Because it's a stroke with a lot of resistance. You're taking your hand inside the water, you're kicking and also taking your leg back, which is creating double resistance. So in this kind of stroke, if you're doing full stroke on a constant basis for a very long span of time, it may reduce your natural body wave, which you might have seen that a lot of breaststrokers have fantastic body wave, which also creates some extra additional speed. You may lose those speeds. So I feel that's I mean, for me, I don't do a lot of that, right? Though we have produced other national champions in 200 breaststroke, but we don't do 200 breaststroke straight for long. We just try to mix pull, kick, and swim. But again, that has to be challenging. The rest interval need to be challenging. And then at the end, you need to do 2 into 300 freestyle with short rest interval. In the second 300, in the last 100, should go all out. So that's something, some example for aerobic capacity builder. Does it make sense, guys? If it is yes, why don't you put something? If you don't like this, put rubbish. But please put something in the chat box. Coaches, any thoughts? Cool. Any of the participant? You want to share any thoughts so far?
Yeah, Coach, it's generally not a lot of action in the chat, but it's good to encourage it. But don't get discouraged.
Yeah, so I understand what are your needs, guys. Just put a bit of it, so I understand what are your needs. Because honestly, I don't know your standard of coaching, so it'll be good for me to kind of understand. Any chat? Anand have shared something loud and clear, coach, but apart from that, I didn't see anything. Anna, sorry. So Mark and Dennis, I think all good. So can we go to the next?
So next is aerobic power.
Yeah, and here comes the ball game. Now remember, always people say if I do a lot of VO2 max work, I'm going to improve my VO2 max work. No, scientifically, that's not the thing. VO2 max work is basically how much oxygen I can take during my working activity, right? Maximum amount of oxygen. Now, the contribution of VO2 max gets higher when you do VO2 max training. But to build oxygen intake capacity, you need to do low intensity work. And then the high intensity work on that will ensure your contribution from aerobic towards your swimming. So when you do VO2 max practice or when you do aerobic power practice or stuff like that, it's going to ensure that whatever VO2 max you have developed from your aerobic capacity, you're going to use it to make your race better, or you're going to contribute more from the aerobic side. So suppose you're doing the race and you're contributing 80% from aerobic side and 20% from anaerobic side, pretty good. If you're contributing, say, 75% from aerobic side and 30% from anaerobic side, you cannot trust your finish because you might drain out your energy very soon, right? So you need to ensure that your contribution from aerobic side is higher so that you have energy left. Otherwise, anaerobic will get the lactic and will stop or will put an elephant on your body, or you'll get the lactic on your body. We call it an elephant on your body. So anyway, giving a set. So 5 into 100 freestyle at anaerobic threshold speed. Now, what is anaerobic threshold? How are you going to determine that? Very easy, guys. CS or anaerobic threshold pace. You can go online. You can put your best timing for 100 and 200, and that's going to give you a chart. What is your anaerobic threshold pace? There are a lot of websites in the internet where if you put your 100 timing and 200 timing, personal best of 100 and 200, they'll give you the threshold timing or CS timing or critical speed timing or anaerobic threshold timing. So these timings you're going to get from the net. You just need to know your swimmer's personal best for 100 and 200 meters. We can discuss that today, but no point of discussing because that's going to be a waste of our time. And we also have next schedule coming up. So 80 pace you need to find out for your swimmers for freestyle, and then do 5 into 100 freestyle at anaerobic threshold pace. I've written 130 for my swimmers. Your swimmers can go 140 or 145 depending on the capacity. Then we can do 5 into 50. IM order. IMO is IM order descending to max. Means first was moderate, second one moderate fast, third one moderate faster, fourth one fast, and fifth one strong. And then of course easy. So fifth one has to be really, really strong. If some coach want, maybe on the fifth one, they can give 30-second extra rest, ask the swimmer to come out, dive, and do a solid 50, and you take the time. So that can be done also. So this is a good work. In the first round, your 550s are going to be all butterfly, 5 into 100 always freestyle. In the second round, your 5 into 50 can be backstroke. In the third round, your 5 into 50 can be breaststroke. In the fourth round, your 5 into 50 can be freestyle. What coaches need to check that after doing 5 into, you're doing 3 round, the 3 round, third round is going to be 5 into 50 breaststroke. Coaches need to check that the swimmers should achieve the anaerobic threshold timing for 5 into 100. And then they should opt for this descending butterfly or descending backstroke or descending breaststroke. And you will get good outcome of that. After every round, I have written 50 easy. If you feel that your swimmers need more rest, you can give them a bit more rest. But too much rest is not very good in this kind of aerobic power development. Maybe good for lactic production set, but not for this kind of sets. Typical set can be 10 into 200 frame. If you don't know what is frame is you replace butterfly with freestyle. So if you're doing 200, first 50 freestyle, second 50 backstroke, third 50 breaststroke, fourth 50 freestyle again. So 10 to 100 frame will hold the best average with a heart rate of 27 to 28 per 10 seconds. So ensure that your heart rate should not go above 28 or should not go under 27. You need to swim at a higher speed and maintain that speed for 10 repetitions. If you can do that, it's going to be wonderful for your swimmers. The restart, I have written at 3:30. Again, restart, you can always vary based on your swimmers. All right. But they need to push themselves up. At the end of this set, they should feel dizzy, a bit of vomitish. They're very tired. You've done the set. If they don't feel that in aerobic power set, you haven't done the set properly. A bit of dizzy, a bit of tired, a lot of fatigue, and you see they're like craving for oxygen, you have achieved the set. Another set can be 850s, IM order at 1 minute, best effort, 2 into 50, easy, 4 rounds. Means first round fly, second round back, third round breast, fourth round freestyle. All 850s are going to be best effort. At 1 minute restart, and of course 2 into 50 easy. Again, here in this kind of set, when you're developing aerobic power and not encouraging too much of recovery, giving them short recovery, but they should mentally feel good that yes, I'm getting into recovery zone. 30 into 100 freestyle at heart rate set, holding aerobic threshold timing is damn good. You can always do that set. I also do 10 to 100s or maybe 12 150s, stuff like that in freestyle or backstroke to build the aerobic power, wherein you need to maintain the best average. We need to make sure that they hold a good timing for all repetitions. So that's pretty good for aerobic power. I hope these few things, these two important things, will help you to build your 400 IM. And my next topic to discuss is sprint. So any questions so far before we go to the next slide? Well, I assume no questions, so I'll go to the next slide. Can we go to the next slide now? Coach Mark, can we go to the next slide, please?
Isn't the next one the race pace?
Yes. I just before the competition, yeah. What we need to do, because we have discussed something which you need to do in specific. So one of the example I've given, you can do that. I think I use it for my swimmers. I think it's very helpful. You can do 4 into 200 IM order, attack the third 50, with a solid effort. So for example, 200 butterfly. We have discussed about it before that, your 200 of your each stroke, if it is efficient. So suppose I'm doing 200 butterfly, where third 50 of butterfly need to be solid, okay? And with kind of a short rest. So for example, for butterfly, I'm restarting at 3 minutes. The next 200 is backstroke, where I'm starting at 3 minutes, where third 50 need to be solid and maintain that solidness till the last 50. And then I do breaststroke, where my maybe at 3 minute 20-second restart. So at 20-second for breaststroke lab. Again, my third 50 should be solid, and then fourth 50 can hold that solidness. And then I end up with freestyle. So we do that. You build that tempo in your body is set to go. Then it's a challenging set. You have to do 2 into 100 IM fast swimming, where rest interval is 20 seconds. Here, there's no restart. You can rest for 20 seconds. Your IM timing, in 100 IM timing, should be your 400 timing by 4. Means if your 400 timing is 6 minutes, personal best, then your IMing timing should be 1 minute 30 seconds or better. It cannot be slower than that. All right. So your body is loaded. It's all set. It's all set to deliver. Then you give a 30-second rest. Swimmer come up, be on the starting block, and give your 100% in 400 IM. Check the time. Let's see how good you are. What percentage of timing you have clocked from your personal best. Give them 30-second rest. And this is important. And this is why Michael Phelps does a fantastic job in the last 50. Even if you have given your best, do you still have some leftover energy? So quickly put your shocks on. Do 825. If you can do kicking or swimming both, or only kicking with shocks, do solid 825 sprint kick. Overload your muscles. You can do 1 round. After every round, you can do 500-600 meter easy. If you want to do 1 round, it's fine. If you want to do 2 rounds, you can do 2 rounds, but not more than 2 rounds in this kind of sense. So that's all. Remember, after that solid 400 IM, this 825 is basically booster for their mind that yes, despite of doing a solid IM, I still have some leftover energy. And this leftover energy is going to count when there's a close race in 400 IM against your swimmer's opponent. They can easily beat them because mentally they're getting stronger, that even after doing a solid 400 IM, they can still swim faster. Next, please. Okay, this is an example for me. You can take a bit of screenshot of that, how you're going to prepare the swimmers. I'm going to come to sprint right after this. What I do, not necessarily you're going to do the same thing. I'll start with IM or distance swimmer. So 400 IM generally comes into distance group or IM group, depending on the swimmer. So if a swimmer is more towards 200 IM, I put them in IM group. If swimmers come more towards 400 IM and 1500 freestyle, stuff like that, I put them in distance group. So I'll start with that distance and IM work. Monday, I generally do aerobic descending work. For IM swimmer, I do power aerobic work with a bit of fins and paddle work or stuff like that. Aerobic work, but with a bit of load in the hand and leg. We do a bit of dry land. All the red markers are dry land. We do outdoor power circuit. In the evening, we do heart rate set, like 30 into 100. Or for IM swimmer, you can do 10 to 100 frame. It's more like aerobic power. You can do heart rate set or aerobic threshold set in the evening on Monday. Recovery set, kick, pull, swim, IM mixture, a bit of ATP-CP work can be done on Tuesday morning. I generally do a bit of running steps, high speed cord, stuff like that, dry land on Tuesday morning. So I just want to show you what I do. We do a bit of VO2 max work for distance and IM swimmers, where for sprinters, we are just going to come back after this. We do a bit of aerobic cruise or high aerobic overload work. You can do that for your swimmers in long axis stroke, not on short axis stroke on Wednesday. Before we do so, we do a bit of partnership stretching because extra bit of lactic, what we're going to generate on Tuesday evening, that can be removed. We do a bit of speed development work, very much like the last set, what you might have seen today. We do a bit of speed development work on Thursday, do a bit of HIIT before we start the set, dry land, high intensity interval training. Same for them, or sometimes we do a bit of US RPT, maybe 30-25s, or maybe 8:25 in IM order, stuff like that, and then a bit of rest, 40-second restart, something like that we do on Thursday in short course pool. Thursday evening is very challenging. We do VO2 max or lactic production and removal, which we have discussed in our last seminar. What is lactic production and removal or speed endurance, stuff like that. You can do on Thursday evening. A lot anaerobic threshold work if you're a distance come 400 IM base swimmer. Some explosive throw with medicine ball can be always good before the training starts. It's good for you guys. Friday morning, generally we do technique and recovery set. We try to do a bit of gym on Friday, which is important for swimmers, or some swimmers also do a bit of gym on, IM swimmers do a bit of gym on Wednesday, where distance-based swimmer do a bit of cycle or other aerobic outcome practice in Ryland on Wednesday. So it depends on your nature. If you're 200 to 400, then you can be in IM. If you're 400 to 800 freestyle, stuff like that, you can be in distance. Friday afternoon, we do a bit of aerobic short work. And for IM swimmers, you do IM technique work and aerobic work, more like aerobic capacity buildup. And then based on the season, need of the week, what you need on that particular week, you can do it on Saturday. So Saturday, you can keep a particular set which you think, is going to be the need of the week that you can do. We do a bit of ice bath on Saturday. If you want to do that, you can do that for your swimmers. It's just an example what I feel I do for our swimmers. Now, coming back to sprinters, we don't have enough time, so I'll just try to rush quickly. Sprinters are different breed, right? They don't like to do long practice. Trust me, they don't like to do long practice. And you don't want to do
Coach,
too much of VO2 practice for them.
Yes.
Yeah.
Coach, I asked the next speaker to be late. We will be late in starting for the next session. So you have extra 10 minutes. Okay. You have extra 10 minutes. Coach, we can't hear you. Coach, we can't hear you. Unmute, unmute.
He seems to be unmuted. The
Even you, Mark, I cannot hear.
yeah, that he was unmuted. That's the same thing that maybe happened before. When we talk, then he drops off. But anyways, he just left the room, and I hope he'll come back in. But he only has like 2 or 3 more slides. Here he comes. Sorry,
Coach, we
Coach,
can't hear
I
you.
see you're back.
Can you all hear me now?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think I need to log out and log in sometime if this happens. Probably it's a new software. I'm not used
Yeah,
to it. Sorry
good
for that.
thinking on that. Thank you for that.
Yeah. No, sorry for that. Can we have the slide, please? If you can put the slide. Beautiful. So coming back to sprint, right? If you can go back to the previous one, that'd be wonderful. The weekly plan. Yes. So sprinters, what I do, I am a strong believer that power circuit is very important. Sprinters need to do less amount of threshold work. They can do a lot of aerobic work. They need to work on the stroke efficiency, distance per stroke, which is fantastic. but I generally do power circuit on Monday. So we have given a couple of example of power circuit in the next slide. You can do power tower, you can do vertical cake, you can do fins paddle, stuff like that, which is more like circuit, short rest, ATPCP work, explosive movement from 10-meter mark, all out finish, just 10-meter finish from 0 speed to max speed, or maybe turn, 10-meter, turn in, turn out, or stuff like that. So we do a lot of power circuit on Monday with a bit of plyometric based practice. Then we do a bit of anaerobic threshold. Yes, that's the only day we do on Monday evening, but not like heart rate set, but a bit of variable anaerobic threshold work, what we do. Like for example, I'll give you an example what I did with my sprint swimmer last week. We did 16 into 100, where they are supposed to wear fins and paddle. They need to restart at 1:30 with fins and paddle, and they can wear snorkeling. They need to ensure that their stroke mechanics are correct. They're not supposed to do long stroke, but they need to work on the stroke length. In the odd 100, every odd 100, they need to hold a heart rate of 22 or 23. Generally with fins and paddle, 10 seconds. I'm talking about 10-second heart rate, 22, 23. In the even 100, in the first one, they need to hold a heart rate of, say, 25, 26. In the second one, they need to hold a heart rate between 27, 28. In the third even means first odd is always 23 heart rate. Even in the first one means number 2 is going to be 26 heart rate. Number 4 is going to be 28 heart rate. Number 8 is going to be 30 heart rate, which is like 180. And number 6 is going to be 80 heart rate. And number 8 is going to be 30 plus heart rate. So they need to hold a heart rate of 30 plus. Again, number 10 is going to be 26 heart rate. Number 12 is going to be 28 heart rate. Number 14 is going to be 30 heart rate. And number 16 is going to be 30 plus heart rate, how fast they can go. Some of our swimmers can go till 35 in 10-second heart rate, which is amazingly good. And that's what you need from sprinter. So that's more like anaerobic threshold work for sprinter, because their threshold work is different from distance swimmer. They can do continuous work. But this is what I do for my sprint group. As I given you example, odd hundreds are all 23 heart rate in 10 seconds, even 100. First one is 26, second one is 28, third one is 30, fourth one is 30 plus. Again, they come back to this. They use their fins and paddles so that they're also connecting their muscles along with their cardiovascular system, right? Distance swimmer only need cardiovascular. Here you need to engage your muscular endurance also. I think that's very important. Kick pull, I am very similar, a bit of recovery on Tuesday morning. We do a bit of lactic production and removal set. There are many examples. I'll give a very simple example which Alexander Popov used to do, Michael Bole used to do. I also do that in my set. We do 3 into 100, dive 25 all out, main stroke, about restart at 30 seconds. And then from 25 mid pool, they do a 75 meter. First 75 freestyle is going to be moderate slow speed. Second 25 meter is going to be moderate high speed. Third 75 is going to be high speed. So you need to see that 75 meter, which they're doing in freestyle, are in descending. All 25s are going to be all out. So generally what we do, we dive, do 25 meters, we restart at 30 seconds, then 75, and then come out for next one is at 2 minutes. So each 100 is of 2 minute 30 second rest. After every 3 to 100, you get 200 easy. You repeat that for 3-4 sets, whatever round you want to do. I think that's very good for lactic production, which is 25, and removal, which is 75. I think it's one of the beautiful set. I won't take the credit. The credit goes to long backs and the Russian coaches. And again, a lot of Australian coaches are using it. Even some of us are using this also. We do a bit of game balance stability work on Tuesday. Aerobic development on Wednesday morning, very similar to them, but their aerobic is going to be much more comfortable, do a lot more kick work for sprinters. Unlike other swimmers do normal swimming or pulling work. For sprinters, we actually do 3 gym sessions. We do 1 gym session on Tuesday, and we do 1 gym session on Wednesday, and we do 1 gym session on Friday. Generally, we used to do on Monday because some of the swimmers are uncomfortable. That's why you want to skip that Monday thing. Then speed or USRPT work. You'll see some of the USRPT work. One other thing I do for my sprinters are 625s. First to 8 out of 10 effort, next to 9 out of 10 effort, last to 10 out of 10 effort at 40-second rest interval, and then they do 150 easy in short course, and then they repeat this set for 4 rounds, so end up with 24 25s. So all these 25s has to be faster than your 100 pace. Of course, it's going to be faster because you're doing push and hand touch, but much faster than your 100 pace. Means 100 timing divided by 4. So that's something we do in USRPT sets. We do some other sets also, which can be discussed later. Evening, we do some VO2 max, or very similar to the lactic production or removal, or sometimes front end or back end speed work. I'll show you some front end or back end speed work which we do. That'll be good. Then Friday, we do a bit of technique work. If the swimmer is senior, they're not young, we skip that anaerobic threshold work. So Monday evening, they do a gym session, they take off. So for senior sprinters, we do only 8 sessions. For semi-senior sprinters, like up to 20 years of age, we do 9 sessions. Above 20 years, we do 8 sessions for swimmers. We add one more gym session on Monday instead of anaerobic threshold work. So that's what we do. And need of the week is, of course, as you can see. So let me show you some of the example of what we do for speed development. Can we go to the next slide, please? I'll give you 2 examples. I'll start with the right side example. I've just discussed about the power circuit. So this is one of the power circuit you can do. 3 rounds of vertical quick with heavy weight, say 10 kilos dumbbell, right, or 10 kilos weight, and 10 seconds, only 10 seconds. The swimmers can hold the dumbbell, go down on the floor. If it is 2 meter depth, go down on the floor, push yourself up and do your bodies go up, and hold your body up for 10 seconds with heavy weight. So 10 seconds only, but max weight, solid kick. Again, relax. It's going to be 1:3 ratio of rest. Means if you're kicking for 10 seconds, you're resting for 30 seconds. So 10-second kick, 30-second rest, 3 rounds. Then you come out to the starting block and do a solid 25-meter dive kick breakout. Means you're breaking out the surface after doing underwater, but with kick instead of swimming. So you're doing solid 25-meter, where you need to do 15-meter breakout at the surface and do 10 meters solid kick at the surface. So you can do that as one of your power circuit. And then, of course, a bit of recovery work. I've written 300 pull with paddle, snorkel, shocks. You can do anything for your swimmers, which is sort of aerobic work. We do swimming cords, 10 time push. And then, and you don't do long cords here. So suppose the long cord is of 25 meters, you fold it by 4 times. So the cord becomes very short and tough. Then you fix it at the starting block, and the swimmers are going to push up, and the cord is going to pull them back. So they're going to do 10 cord push like that. And then they'll do some turn sprint from backstroke flag to 10-meter turn breakout. So breakout at 10 meter, do 1 stroke. And then they do the whole thing for 4 rounds. So that's another power circuit you guys can do for your swimmers. Again, a bit of recovery set. Don't go for this 300 main stroke kick drill. Whatever you want to do, you can incorporate there. You do 10 50s at 150 with fins and paddle, breakout drill, odd underwater, even neutral. Breakout drill, what is breakout drill? Means you go under the water, do 6 or 7 butterfly kick, and you break out of the water and do 1 or 2 stroke. Again, go down, break out of the water, do 1 or 2 stroke till 50 meter. So that's breakout drill underwater. Even if breakout drill neutral. What is neutral? You come back to 0 speed. So don't push off, just come back to 0 speed. Do 2 stroke cycles solid. Again, relax and glide. When your body becomes neutral, 0 speed, again do 2 stroke cycle. Again, glide. When your body becomes 0, again do 2 stroke cycle. So these are called neutral breakout. Another one is underwater breakout. So you can mix underwater breakout and neutral breakout for your swimmers. I think that's a good circuit. And again, HVO, high velocity overload. It's generally 20 meters. What we do to dive and glide. 4 dive and 3 stroke, 2 with parachute, 2 regular. So this is something, some power circuit you can do for your swimmers. I think that's fantastic for sprint-based swimmers. On the other way, the other practice, what you can do, this is practice more. It's like lactic production or lactic tolerance or stuff like that. If you want to introduce, you can do this kind of set. 7 into 50 at 1 minute, 10-second restart. First 2 is going to be 4-stroke explosive. Third is 5-stroke explosive. Fourth is 6-stroke explosive. Fifth is 8-stroke explosive after push. And 6 and 7 is 9-stroke explosive. After you finish that, you take 30-second rest. Now you're ready to do a solid push-off max. Your body is already loaded with lactic acid because of all those explosive work. And we want to see how good push max effort you can do. Then you do 50 easy. The both combination should be 2 minutes. Then you come out. You're not doing the dive in the first one. Then do a solid dive. What you need to see that push max and dive max combining timing should about close to your 100 meters personal best. Dive and push combined timing should be close to your 100-meter personal best. After that, you do a bit of removal. That's why we're doing 4 into 100 comfort at 140, 3 into 50 re-prepared. You can do the whole set for 3 times or 2 rounds or whatever your swimmers are capable of doing. With a solid speed board, beautiful for sprinters, beautiful for 50 and 100 swimmers. I think that's going to be really helpful. I'll go to the next slide. A bit of race preparation, right? Race, when we talk about race, we need to ensure for sprinters, we work on their front end, we work on their back end. And I think these 2 parts are very important because sprint race is all about front and back, middle part. You do a couple of strokes, which you have already done before, practice. I generally feel that to develop your front part of your race, especially for 50 meters, you need to do a lot of power tower sprint. Those who don't know what is power tower, you can Google it. You have those tubs. We have those tubs. You have a belt. You push off and do 15-meter all out with, say, we put progressive load. So we start with 20 kilo of load, then we put 25 kilo load, we put 30 kilo load, then we even go 35 kilos of load. And then the swimmers are going to push off with that and do solid 15-meter. So these are very good for sprinting. You can do with swimming, you can do with kicking, you can also do pulling. You can do a lot of start drill, like we do medicine ball starts, or there are a lot of other start drill what you can do with sprinters. There are various beautiful start drills available in internet. You can take some of the suggestion, but must do some of the good start drill. There's a good drill progression of Cesar Cielo of Auburn University many years back. We strongly believe in that. We do a lot of those drills. You can try that. Some breakout practice. What is breakout? Breakout is after underwater when you're about to reach surface, or when you reach surface and going to start your first stroke, that's your breakout. So you want to improve your breakout speed. You do breakout with parachute. D1 is dive 1 stroke with parachute. So you do same number of underwater butterfly kicks. Suppose you do 7 butterfly kick under the water after dive. You do 7 underwater butterfly kick. Then do a solid stroke. Then dive 2 stroke in the next one. Then dive 3 stroke in the next one. And then do a bit of recovery. Again, repeat the whole thing again 2-3 times. I think that's going to be fantastic for breakout. Vertical kick we already discussed. You do underwater skills. You can do roller coaster kicking, to solid and fast kicking. You can do fish kick, to solid and fast kick. You can do reverse butterfly kick, keeping your hand towards the sky. There's so many good underwater skills you can do. You must do those skill practice. For pull out, you can do breaststroke pull out, multiple pull out with snorkel, wearing snorkel on the surface, and then you do solid dive with double pull out, triple pull out, breaststroke. You can now do some mid pull 3 strokes. Mid pull 3 stroke means you have the mid pull to 1, 2, 3 strokes suddenly, do a turn. Or 1, 2, 3 suddenly and do a finish. Suddenly, 0 speed to sudden speed. Can you do that? I think these are the things which will help you to develop the front part of your race. If you're a sprint-based swimmer, if you're a sprint-based swimmer and you want to build your back part of your race, for 50 meters, I suggest 625 best effort with dive, walk back. This is for 50 meters to bring the second part of your race, though you're doing dive. It's interesting. We can discuss that later, why and how it helps you in back end. The restart is going to be 130. That means first 25, you dive and walk back at 1 minute 30 seconds. And you start the next one at 1 minute 30 seconds. Second one, start at 120 seconds. Third one, start at 1:15, 10 seconds. Fourth one, start at 1 minute. Fifth one, that's very challenging. Start at 50 seconds. So, I mean, sixth one is anyway, no restart. So sorry again. First one you dive, second one you start at 130, third one you start at 120, fourth one you start at 1 minute, 110, fifth one you start at 1 minute, and sixth one you start at 50 seconds. So on the sixth one, since you're getting less stressed and you're walking back, your body already got a lot of lactate, and if you can still do solid sprinting till the sixth one, you're building your back end. I think that's a fantastic back end work for sprinters. I do a lot for our sprinters who are wearing the racing suits. You can try for your swimmers. So the back end speed for 100, you can try Australian Institute of Sports' chart for 100 meters. Check what should be the back end speed timing for a particular 100-meter swimmers. And swimmers need to maintain that timing for 350s. You can do that with racing suit. The first 50 restart is going to be 1 minute 20-second restart. Second 50, 1 minute 10-second restart. Third 50, any of you are done. So there's no restart in that. And after every round, you can take about 200-300 easy swimming, and you can repeat the whole set for 2 to 3 times. 350s back end speed work. It's basically for sprinter who are mostly for 50 and 100 or 100 and 50. The few swimmers who are only for 50, they can do that 625, big effort, big dive. And with that, I conclude my presentation. The last talk, the last slide, please, is always remember this. The mind controls the body. So your mind is unlimited. Thank you so much.
Bravo.
Thank
Well
you,
done,
Dennis.
coach. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any
I'm
questions,
sorry,
guys?
I think we are 10 minutes off.
No problem. I asked already the next speaker. Okay. Coach, we don't have the right words to say thank you, and we will be sending you your certificate of appreciation. We are so
Thank you,
blessed
Paulo.
this December that you gave us an opportunity. Okay, the coaches are now on Christmas party.
Dami ko namin
Okay,
ng pirya. Kaya mo lang.
They beg off that they cannot attend because of the Christmas party of their team. Okay, now please excuse them. Now,
Not I. I hope you have
Coach Mark.
recorded this, so that's going to help you.
Yes, it's recorded. Coach Mark, you want to say
Thank you,
something?
Hanna.
No, I appreciate it. I think we should think about rolling on to the next meeting. And if anybody has anything in the chat they would love to add, it would be great
Thank
to
you,
see
Dolan.
your
Okay,
comments.
guys, open your windows. We will be taking pictures. Okay, good. Open your windows, guys. We will be taking pictures. Please open your windows. Ready, guys? Swimmer 444.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, everyone.
Okay, thank you so
And
much,
see
guys.
you
Thank you,
guys.
thank you. Thank you, thank
Bye.
you. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, please wait for a moment, and we will be letting in the national coach from Suriname. Okay. I tried to hold him. If you want to urinate, you want to drink something, you can do it now. Hello, coach. Coach, you can get in now. Hello, coach. Okay, thank you. Okay, everybody, it's just a matter of few minutes. Okay, we will start the swim certification level 1 of the UCSSC WAPSU. Okay, we would like to welcome our speaker, second speaker of the day, none other than the coach from Suriname. Okay, and wow, the whole introduction is more than a sheet of paper. I would like Coach to Coach Yash to be the one to introduce himself. Oh God, it's a long, uh, itemized achievement of the person. Okay, uh, we would like to give the floor, okay, to our speaker, Yash. Coach Yash. And
Yes.
we do have our co-host here from USA, Coach Mark Rodriguez. Coach Yash, the floor is yours.
Hi, everyone. I hope you guys can hear me. Do you all hear me? I just give a thumbs up. My
Sounds
name is
good.
Yash Daryanani, and I'm from Suriname. Born in India, but grew up in Suriname, and started at the age of 4 with swimming. And by the age of 20, I started coaching. Um, at the age of 28, I was actually already head coach of the national team, and went to the Olympics in 2016 and the final one in Japan. Besides that, I've been coaching swimming teams in Suriname, but traveling all around the Caribbean region and working with small teams, even big teams, and the national teams to help them develop swimming sport. Uh, the rest, I've been part. I have my own Goldwater Sports International, where we host clinics in different islands and all that stuff. So that's a little bit about me. I think I see the guests joining in today. Um, so I just
Coach,
have a question though.
Coach, the teams now, I forgot that the
Hmm.
teams now are having Christmas party. Okay, they tried to message me, and they're really saying sorry that they cannot really attend. Okay, because of the
Hmm.
Christmas party. Sorry, sorry.
No problem. I do see there are many guests in. They are muted, if I'm correct.
Yes, Coach. Uh, Generally, yes. We
Mm-hmm.
can unmute them and have a
Right.
discussion if we want. We can also ask people to use the chat.
All
And
right.
then just for your information, up at the top of the screen is the view area. So you can view just the active speaker or view a gallery so people can change how they see each other in the room. Sometimes people don't have a camera or sometimes they don't have a microphone too. And it's always
Okay.
being recorded. So we'll be able to edit and replay so other
All right.
people can watch this in weeks to come. And then also at the top is the widgets area
I
for
see the
you.
widgets. Yeah.
And there's a Yash folder, and there are ways to flash the widgets. Now, what I've done
Hmm.
is you provided 2 PDFs. So if the
Yes.
users now wanted to download that full PDF, they could click on the screen now and it will go to their computer.
All
So
right.
this was for level 1. And
All
then the
right.
second one that I'll flip to next is for level 2.
All
Now you
right.
can also get these on our WAFSU site, wafsu.org site under today. But then
Okay.
I've taken your PDFs and I used a little program called Gamma. It's made with Gamma on the bottom right-hand corner. And I had Gamma take level 1 and turn it into 10 slides.
Nice.
And then level 2, turn it into 10 slides. And so
Okay.
in the widgets area, you'll be able to see these, and they make it a little bit different rather than just presenting the what it looks like from here is what you had as far as the
Exactly.
PDF.
Yes, yes, yes.
So
All right.
I sorry about taking the liberties, and you can jump to the widgets yourself and see what I'm doing here. So there's 01.
Oh
Tell
yeah,
us a little bit about
I do
Goldwater
like this
Source.
because as you can see, I have my specs on and it's dark. And the thing is, I am not allowed to wear clear glasses anymore, so I'm always with dark shades. So if it's really small, it'd be difficult for me. So this would be perfect.
And then are you able to see the widgets and then move it yourself?
Okay, I see the widgets and I clicked on my name. All right, I see slide number 1. I can just double click on it, right?
Yeah, or single click.
Oh,
then
single click. All
Yeah, and
right.
there's slide 2.
All right, perfect, perfect, perfect. All right, thank you. That looks really good. Thanks for this help.
You're very welcome.
All right. Okay, so I think I can start with the course.
Yes, go ahead.
All right. Okay, so level 1, this is based off Goldwater Sports is level 1. This is the things we do. Of course, every coach in the world has their own ways of doing things, and I love to have interaction with coaches, especially the young ones or anybody advanced, where we can learn from each other because not everybody has all the information. So what I've done in my 23 years of coaching, it's all the data put together, and these are some of the things I've done with Goldwater. So I'll start off with level 1, and we're going to move over to slide number 2. The coaching philosophy, what we have is discipline, patience, individual attention. As a coach, I always feel if you are disciplined to be there on time and you are disciplined to write your own programs, you need to be prepared as you're walking up to the pool deck, which will also have a roll-off effect on the swimmers as well. And they will also be having some discipline, being there on time. You don't have to repeat it by saying you're 5 minutes late. Guys, be on time, be on time. So if you are the example, they'll be on time. So discipline has always been there. Patience, working with children and swimmers. You need to have a lot of patience because you have swimmers in different types. Swimmers that come in having a bad day. Maybe you will have a bad day as well. But when you're as a coach, you can't be going with your personal issues to pool deck. So patience is one of the things, because even if you have a bad day and the kids do not listen, you need to have the patience as well. And there are different types of swimmers who you work with. Children who tend to listen to everything, and then children who are actually, their minds wander off while you're explaining. And individual attention, that's really important. You're working with a team, but again, if I bring back the word patience, some of the children do not listen while you're explaining. So sometimes you need to give individual attention to some of the athletes. So that's one of the things we've been working with for years, and all the trainers that join in with Goldwater, we work with the first rules by doing that. Focus. Create confident swimmers with correct fundamentals. As you can hear, fundamentals, we have the word fun in it. So a lot of children, when they start this learn to swim program going into competitive swimming, it's not fun at a certain point. It's a lot of work. But if you're going to start with 10 and unders, I think you need to put the fun in it. And that's really important. I do have a question though. If you, or at least something to say, if you have any questions, please throw it into the chat group and I will answer it for sure. And feel free. I'm open to all questions. Okay. With that being said, create confident swimmers with correct fundamentals. That means if we're going to have children join in swim training, we're always going to start with the fundamentals, and that is teaching them the right techniques, teaching them how to do proper kicks, teaching them how to do a perfect arm stroke, but we add the fun to it. We do not start with racing, and we have these fun competitions, but we do not train them with meters and kilometers and all that stuff because they're too young to do that. So if you create the right techniques and the fundamentals, in the long run, you have confident swimmers who know what to do when they're in the pool. Motivating a coach role, motivator, mentor, protector, leader. You have to motivate not only your swimmers, but your staff, your coaching staff as well. Because if they're not motivated, they will not help the children the right way. And if the children are not motivated, they do not get the results, and we lose them pretty fast as swimmers. Mentoring, you're a mentor, so you'll always have to be up to date, and you got to mentor these kids. Protect them from injuries, protect them from, you're like a parent at pool deck. You're like a parent, you're a brother. I mean, most of you will see that the kids come up to you and talk about a lot of other stuff besides swimming sometimes. And it's how you talk to them and understand them. You build that certain bond with these swimmers, which makes it easier for you as a coach. However, don't make it too friendly. You need to be the leader who's going to tell them what the goals are and where you're going to be heading to in their swimming careers as well. So this is the introduction to Goldwater Coaching. This is how we work. If you guys have any questions, please throw it out there so we can move on, but I'm always there to answer those questions. So moving on to slide number 3. That would be safety and pool management. Pre-session safety check. Check water clarity, chlorine smell, sharp tiles. That's we would not want to have children at pool deck running around and they're sharp towels, they'll get injured. Again, you are the protector. You're going to have to protect them from getting injured as well. Emergency preparedness. No emergency exits, first aid, and CPR. Pool organization. Organize the pool so every swimmer feels safe. Shadowing technique, never leave beginners out of sight. That means always the children who are beginners at swimming, always keep your eyes on them and never turn your back towards the swimmer. As a matter of fact, that is one of the most important things as we're teaching kids. We tend to pay attention to a lot of swimmers. So if you have a big group, once you turn your back towards one and you're talking to 3, that is pretty dangerous. So we always have them all together, and then only we explain what's right and what's wrong, talk about the technique. So all the swimmers get to hear what's the right technique, but do not explain it to just one little kid and you have the other one swimming. So we recommend that all the swimmers head back so that they all listen to what needs to be corrected. In that case, everybody's safe. You get an eye on all the swimmers, and all the swimmers will be looking back at you. I see something in the chat here. Hold on a second. All right. Okay, no, that was not it. All right. Boundaries. Parent-coach boundary and rules. So Before I continue to that, I would give you a story and something that I had to experience when I did my first coaching clinic in the USA. And I was invited by a group of international businessmen who were interested in having a clinic for international athletes in Fort Lauderdale 2013. And I come from South America where things were, and this was my first clinic ever in the USA. So I reached there, I go to the pool deck, and the clinic was supposed to start at 9 o'clock. So I arrived at 5 to 9, thinking I was there on time. Out comes this guy and he says, "You're late." So to me, coming from Suriname, 5 to 9 was always the thing of the coaches being there, and the swimmers would be there, and we just start. We tell the swimmers what to do, and we would start. So it's 5 past 9. We would start with the sessions. However, what happened in that situation is that this guy in the States walks up to me and tells me, "You're late, and this is not how we work." And I was like, "I'm on time, and I don't think I did anything wrong." And he goes, "Yes, it's pretty wrong, and I don't think you know how it works out here, and I don't know how they work in your country." And he explains to me that a coach is supposed to be there 45 minutes or 40 minutes prior to the start of a session. And I did ask him, "What's the reason? Why should I be here so early?" And he goes, "You have to check the pool, walk around the pool, see to it that the kickboards, the pool boys, and equipment are all outside for the swimmers. And 15 minutes prior to your session, you explain to them what to do. They stretch and get in. They start with a warm up." So in that, I learned that I always had to be way before time at the pool deck to check for the safety of the athletes, have everything prepared for them so that they could come in. So when I left the States and came back to Suriname, I implemented that whole system with my team and my club, where we would walk around the pool deck, check the safety, and that was every day, no fail. So safety and pool management is one of the most important things if you're going to be busy working with children and swimmers. So I learned something at a way later stage, because coming from where I am, we do not do that. Now, only after 10 years after I've experienced that, there are other teams that have implemented that system into their program, where the coaches have to be there early and screen the pool deck. So 1 month or 1 day is too late. So I recommend that everybody focuses on that from the beginning and does the pool safety. All right. So any questions about safety and pool management, feel free. Boundaries, parent-coach boundaries and rules. A lot of places in the world have rules such as no parents at pool deck. Here in Suriname, we're pretty small. We have parents at pool deck because they're private clubs, and the children swim at our club, pretty close. So it's like a private club. While they're training, the parents are sitting there and watching. What we do have, or what we had, was that parents would walk up to us during the sessions and talk to us about what they felt about the training, why their child wasn't practicing freestyle, why they were doing something else. And that was happening during the sessions. And we felt at a certain point that was taking a lot of our time during the sessions, and we were not focusing on the kids. So we have this policy now that the parents are not allowed to talk to us during the sessions. It is before or after. A parent is allowed to know everything about their child since they leave the session, or after the sessions, they go back home. So before and after, they're always home. So always have the boundaries and rules set straight for your team and how you communicate to the parents. Can't be arrogant, can't be rude, can't be rough, because at the end of the day, you want to have this good relationship with the parent, because you're gonna have conversations with the parent, of course, at a certain point of your career, and the swimmer's age when he needs extra rest, extra need to check what he's eating. The parents are gonna help you out with that. So always have boundaries and rules, but don't keep it too strict or don't be too rude. There has to be a way of talking to the parents. We will move over to 4. Teaching fundamentals, water acclimatation, comfort, balance, breath control, games for confidence. So if we're going to start with pretty young athletes, children who have just moved in, really making them feel comfortable with the sport, because they're coming from learn to swim, going into competitive swimming, we are not going to make those children do 30, 40 laps just like that. Believe it or not, approximately between 15 and 20 years ago, when I was new into the sport as a coach, they used to make 6 years and younger swim 20 laps nonstop and 30 laps nonstop, thinking they were building the endurance of the kid right after learn to swim. And I'm talking about here in Suriname. It never happened anywhere else, I know, but here in Suriname, that's what was happening. Which was actually right, because you need to teach them, make them feel comfortable, teach them how to breathe during swimming, competitive swimming. So when we say games for confidence, we normally do, for example, we take a kickboard and hand them over kickboards, and we tell them, let's see who kicks the fastest. Let's see who kicks the fastest, but we do not want to hear the splashing of the water. Who can jump the furthest from the diving blocks? Who can hold the breath for the longest? And then, all that's just fun stuff. And that's how we, after a while, changed it. And all that, again, I learned as I was growing into the sport, because I was taught by my seniors, the more they swim, the faster they go after a while. But we don't do it with the 10 and unders. It's fundamentals. We're bringing those words back again. Floating skills, back float progression, assisted, starfish, glide, front float progression. Now, kicking, floating skills, we're gonna have to do, we normally, not kicking, floating skills, back float progression. So we tend to, for some of the kids who are in the pool, we want to see their position, and we work with a lot of kickboards at a certain point, and especially with the ones who are doing the freestyle, we check, for example, what they need and what they have to do. Hold on a sec. I see. Is there a question here? Sorry. Hold on a sec, please. I see here Hannah. Okay, doing too many laps is discouraged, I believe, because children as beginners don't have the stamina yet, right, coach? Yes, correct. They're brand new to the sport. I wouldn't recommend them doing 20 and 30 laps. Those mistakes, and I'm talking out of experience because I made those mistakes. It took me, and I mean, today when I see coaches doing that, I talk to them, and it's not encouraging at all. Having them come from learn to swim and they want to grow into the sport, and you told them 30 laps, 40 laps, you think you're building the stamina, but you haven't even worked on the techniques yet. So consider this as a pyramid, hope you guys can see me. I'm not even going to that pyramid, right? Now, the fundamentals, the pyramid, the lower part, the base of the pyramid has to be strong. I've never seen a pyramid like this upside down. It will topple off, right? So you need the right techniques. And that's one of the things in swimming. It's like, you remember the iceberg drawing where they had the iceberg is similar like the pyramid design that I always talk about to the coaches. And that is, you need to have a good foundation to reach the top. If you are going to start upside down by sprinting and laps and without the techniques and the right fundamentals, we'll fail. We all fail. And trust me, I failed as a coach when I was young. I said it at the age of 20, and that was branching out from competitive swimming, going into coaching. But I used what I was doing for the young kids. Luckily, I didn't get anybody injured at that age. But as I was growing into the sport, I learned that that's not the right way. So today I'm going to be talking about mostly like what I did as well, so I could kind of help you guys out. So those are one of the things I like to do. I always compare with back then and now. All right. So I hope that answered your question, Hannah. Sorry, I see a Apollo. Do you also introduce basic strength and conditioning to them in building a foundation? So here's the thing. There's a lot of contradiction on that. That's a good question, Paulo. I myself, as a coach, for 10 and unders, we do agility sets, right? So coordination sets. We tend to, there's a set, what I did, I loved it. I learned it from, I hope you know the name, Ranomi Kromowidjojo. She's a Holland, from the Holland, Olympian medalist. And she came down to Suriname once because her parents are, or one of her parents are from Suriname. So we were sitting down and she told me that what she did with some of the young kids is that she used to tell these kids of 10 and under, stand straight and close your eyes and lift your arms up sideways like this, and then bring it back down. So visualizing, and then suddenly she says, do the same thing, but now lift your right leg up. And you would see some of the kids just tilt. So these things are good, visualizing agility sets, small jump ropes, but we don't, well, at least I don't like to promote push-ups, sit-ups, all those things for 10 and unders. That is a big no for me. For me, it is just small agility sets, coordination sets, how to move your legs. That's what I do on dry land, other 10 and under. Of course, there are many coaches in the world with different strategies and approaches, but this is how I do it. It's been successful so far. And I hope that's an answer for your question. All right, let's continue. We were at the fundamentals. Right. Breathing skills, bubble, rhythm, diaphragm, activation drills. So a lot of swimmers, I'm not sure if you have experienced it, a lot of swimmers tend to breathe in through their mouth and exhale through their mouth. And we have to teach them how to breathe as well. So it's nose. Some of the young ones don't do it unless it's literally blocked. So we teach them those things as well. So it's again fundamentals. We teach them that. We have the drills, putting the head down, kicking, kick sets, and then combining kicks with breathing. So those things are really important. Drills can be done anyway. You have multiple drills. Of course, for breathing, we start outside first by teaching them inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. The older they get, we do these exercises for older kids, which is different from the younger ones, but that's more for mental coaching and how to control their breath in swimming. But that's the older they get. However, for the younger ones, we just try to teach them how to inhale, exhale the right way. And we do that out of the pool first, then in the pool, and then we do it as a drill, doing it with kickboards, swimming with kicks, and inhale, exhale. Kicking skills, straight leg kick, kickboard or no kickboard method. As Goldwater, we tend not to use the kickboard. And if I do use the kickboard, I use the kickboard in a different way by holding it as a tombstone position. So consider my mobile as the kickboard. We hold it up like this in the center, and then we let them kick to make the kicks a little bit stronger. So they need to kick harder. Otherwise, we keep them in the streamline position so that the kids learn how to do the streamline properly. Sometimes what we do is we have the kids get out of the pool, or prior to swimming or getting into the pool, we have them in a streamlined position, standing out of the pool, tiptoe, walking around the pool in that streamlined position. And then when we get them in the pool, we have them do the streamline freestyle kick. So we have them work with that style so that they learn that we have to stay in streamline. So that's one of the reasons why we don't use kickboards. But as a coach, you're free to use kickboards, and you can do any set you want. I personally use kickboards just for in the tombstone position to make the legs stronger. I won't recommend it for 10 and unders because that's pretty tough. Vertical kicking for fast learning, that is really good. Trust me, it's also good for the ankles. A lot of children do not have really flexible ankles, and vertical kicking for fast learning is important. As a coach, you need to observe, write down a lot. As you're working with the kids, in the beginning, I never actually wrote down anything, but the older I was getting and the longer I was in the sport, I started taking notes. And then for each swimmer, I have a whole logbook where I write down everything and see the progress, see the changes, techniques, body, physique, strength, nutrition. I have everything of each athlete. So if you're going to start with the 10 and unders, I would recommend start writing down so you can see the progress as well. And it'll be really beneficial for you as you're growing into the sport with that one specific athlete or athletes. Switching to core alignment, body position, and balance. We have the head alignment, head-led alignment, eyes down, hips up. A lot of swimmers tend to have their hips down, so they swim like this, right? And a lot of them, they have a arch back, so it's like this, with their heads up like this. So your hips need to be up so you could have a proper body position, and the eyes down so you're looking down as you're streamline kicking. So core engagement, tight belly, long spine. Now, a lot of swimmers do not know that there's core engagement in swimming, and you will realize that there are a lot of swimmers that as they're swimming, they just swim like a snake, or their strokes are really they have an overreach, and they are not swimming according to how you want that to be. So with body positioning and balance, you get to arrange and get the swimmer straight. So you have to always look at, where do I start with? Do I start with the head positioning or the legs? So as Goldwater, we tend to work with the legs first to get them in a proper streamlined position. And then from there on out, we take note and then we continue with body rotation, the core of how they tighten their belly. So those things are what we do. The streamline technique, squeeze the ears, locked elbow. That is, as we're doing the kicks, we keep them in that position. Locked elbows, squeeze the ears. Common fixes, fixing sinking legs and dropped hips. So as I was talking about, dropped hips, and then you have some that have sinking legs where they kick. That is mostly the core engagement where we try and get them to raise their hips. Goldwater signature drill. Now, these are one of the drills, arrow push glide. I would recommend to use, we is one of the drills. However, we can always have different drills to correct the swimmer depending on which swimmer it is, right? Because different swimmers and some of them need a different drill to correct. And drills, as you know, is it corrects the stroke. So it doesn't, this drill does not specifically have to work on all the swimmers. It's just one drill we just gave. And it so happened that we used it on swimmers, most of our swimmers, and it worked. But sometimes we get swimmers where we need to use another drill. So I would recommend always observe, always write what is wrong, how do we correct it, and where do we start with. So you could do anything. I mean, if you see, for example, that the swimmer is doing a kick with his head up like this, I don't think you would correct the legs. You would work on the head, right? So always see what's right, what's wrong, and then work from there on out. Freestyle. Freestyle foundation, arm recovery and entry, high elbow recovery, relaxed shoulder, fingertip entry, narrow, not wide. Now, one of the things with swimmers, they tend to, a lot of young swimmers, we need to teach them that high elbow, and most of them are just swinging and swimming because they're young, they want to swim fast, they want to win. But we are thinking about the long-term athlete development process where we need to think of where will this athlete be in the next few years. So we have to work on the right techniques. And high elbow is the best thing for the swimmer, and get their elbows out with a relaxed shoulder. And I've always been taught that it's not what happens up here, but what happens down there. So if this is relaxed and high elbow, they go as far as possible. But when they catch, they need to catch a lot of water. So once you have the arm recovery and entry, we go to B, that's the catch phase, early vertical forearm, paddle hand technique. So the paddle hand technique is very important as you will need to catch a lot of water. The C shape, C, that's the pull and finish. The S-shaped pull avoided for beginners. Push past the hip. Now, as we're swimming, we need to do the right technique. Again, this is what Goldwater has been working with and been doing. But every swimmer has a different body, like their physique, their shape, their size, and you're gonna have to write down everything, because this is based on approximately Goldwater has had since 2013 we've had more than 600 athletes, swimmers that have started young and then moving out to the States or Holland or Honduras, you name it, and they continue swimming over there. And each athlete is different, but we've had athletes who have done similar and the same problems with the stroke. So this is based on an average of the same amount of swimmers, let's say 300, 400 with the same problem, and we just work with it. So again, write down everything you do with a swimmer, and who you are working with. Because your coaching staff should work with the same techniques and the style. And of course, as you're working with the technical staff, you all need to communicate and know exactly what you're doing. You all have to be on one line as you're teaching the right techniques. You couldn't be, Coach A couldn't be saying B and Coach B couldn't be saying C, right? So that's not good for a child. It will be really bad for an athlete to continue. Okay, sorry about that. Breathing, one eye breathing, 3 strokes rhythm drill. As we're breathing, we tend to teach the kids breathe every 3 strokes, but there's a lot of discussion about this. We have the breathe every 3 strokes, 5, 7, and lately everybody's been breathing every stroke, as they say that breathing every stroke is really important. This is based off, for me, swimmers who were doing 200 meters back then. And we felt by them breathing every 3 strokes, they were having a proper rhythm, proper stroke count, body was aligned, and we kind of stuck to that 3-stroke rhythm drill. And but nowadays things have changed. Swimmers have changed. You will experience that as well, and you will have to see what's best for the child. Again, I'm telling you, I'm basing this off our studies and what we have done with the kids. Kicking in freestyle, 2-beat, 4-beat, 6-beat kick explanation. Again, as you're working with the kids, when I used to work with the kids, when I first started, I told them, I want a continuous kick. I don't want any child or any swimmer to stop kicking. So we had some swimmers who had those lazy kicks, one kick, swinging with the body left, right. And we, after a while, decided we're going to work with what everybody does, the 2-beat kick, 4-beat kick, 6-beat kick. So every 6, they're working with a stroke rate. And then we just switched over to continuous kick. So we have these sets where we call it social kicking time. That's the only time I allow the swimmers to communicate during the training. And when I say social kicking, I think that's the happiest time of their life. They all take the kickboards and head out kicking nonstop, but they're talking to each other. So it gives them the fun in it. They're enjoying that part because they get to talk, enjoy. That's the only time during the session they can talk about what they did in school or anything else. And as we go back to the main sets, we see to it that they implement those kicks into the main sets, right? That's how we have done the kicking. If any questions, feel free. I'm here, and I will answer your questions. Backstroke, breaststroke, and butterfly foundations. Backstroke, the head stability, eyes up, still head. Hip alignment, straight arm, entry at shoulder line. Fast backstroke kick mechanics, and Goldwater drill is bucket kick backstroke. Well, that is one of the drills. Backstroke used to be, when I was a swimmer, that used to be my favorite stroke. Honestly, most of the swimmers love that stroke because that's the only time their head is out of the water and they can breathe continuously like that and move their head around. However, that spoils the technique. One of the drills I did like as a swimmer was hand out and then rotate it like this and then back in. So thumb out, kind of like a wave, and the pinky goes in. When I grew a little bit older, I took a challenge to do this. There's this meet in Suriname where we have 60 laps. So I decided to do 60 laps backstroke by the age of 13, 14. Yeah, I was 13 years old when I did the 60 laps. And I did those 60 laps only on backstroke. And that was when I realized that while finishing that whole race, I think with a time of 21 minutes, I realized that in backstroke, or whoever thinks backstroke is the easiest, that was the time I realized backstroke is not the easiest stroke. Shoulder rotation, core stability, legs, back, neck, right? So if you keep swinging with your head, you go off the rhythm. So I felt, for me, backstroke was one of my favorite, but also one of the difficult ones. So head stability, always. You have to always keep in mind that once they start moving the head, or they have that bouncy effect in backstroke, then I used to start with the legs when they have that bouncy effect. With the head, I used to keep the swimmer who used to move his head left and right. I used to keep them to the closest, the lane 1 or lane 5, because we have a 5-lane pool. I used to keep them in lane 1, and I used to put my hand on top, and I used to tell him, just watch my hand and swim along. So I used to walk with the kid by holding my hand, and his eyes were focused on my hand as I was walking on the side of the pool, and he used to swim backstroke. So that was one way to keep the swimmer's head steady instead of him moving his head left and right. Of course, you as a coach could come up with any other idea and think about how you could keep them swimming straight, or not having them move their head or bobble their head. Straight arm entry at shoulder line. So a lot of swimmers tend to have an overreach. So you need to correct that. For that, you have specific drills: arm out, have it go in, but not an overreach. What we do as coaches, we tend to record the swimmers so that they could visualize what we're seeing, and then we show them. So we have a once a week technique, or a technique session where we record them and show them, and then we show them what they're doing wrong, what they're doing right, because you cannot always tell them they're wrong. So we show them both. This is correct, this is incorrect, and this is what we can do much better. So maybe that works for you as well as a coach. Breaststroke, body wave introduction, glide importance, pull, breathe, kick, glide rhythm. Sculling basics, narrow kick versus wide kick correction. Now, I'm going to start from down, then narrow kick versus wide kick correction. There are a lot of kids who kick wide, a lot of kids that kick narrow. We had a discussion this morning right prior to this session. I had a discussion with the coach, and he wanted to use a pull boy to correct the kick by making it a narrow kick. And I wanted to see how he was going to implement it, because I have a policy: if I'm working with the coaching staff, I also want to see what they want to show me and introduce. And if it works, it works. So he told me that the kid had not such a great breaststroke kick, so he wanted to use the pull boy to make it a narrow kick, small kick. Somehow it looked good, but then it was just a kick. That was he was trying to correct. However, the swimmer his breakout, his exit of the water was pretty high. So then we go into the body wave introduction. The swimmer was swimming up like this and down, up and down. So he was correcting the feet while the swimmer was going up. So I'm making this narrow, and the swimmer was swimming this high out of the water. So those were the things where if you're correcting one thing, you need to see you need to see also what's the next step. So we were trying to get the wave movement and the wave movement. So now he has homework and he has to correct this swimmer. So after I'm done from here with this whole session, he has to show me a recorded version of what he's done where the swimmer has a different breaststroke. It's a lot of work, and it's again, as a coach, you're working and you're working on all details and just not one detail. So again, they tried to change the kick from a wide kick to a narrow kick, but then they did not focus on the body positioning. So they need to have the body up and forward, but then they were not having that wave movement, which actually does not make any sense when you're going to have such a narrow kick. Any questions about the breaststroke part? Because a lot of coaches tend to overlook certain issues on backstroke, breaststroke. Feel free to ask the question if you have to. Butterfly, sorry, butterfly, body undulating, kick timing, kick pull rhythm, wide arm entry avoided. Gold water drill is one arm plus one kick combo. Well, that is one of the kicks. So another drill we have created is 3 dolphin kicks underwater, exit 1 arm stroke, and then as you're doing the second one, go back, enter in 3 dolphins underwater. So we love doing that with the kids because they then tend to work on their 1 dolphin kicks, 2 on their stroke, and 3 on their catch. So we like to do that. We're working on all of them, and also on the lung capacity, because if you're going to do that 50 meters or in a 50-meter pool, it's 1 whole lap with 3 dolphin kicks, 1 whole stroke, back underwater, 3 dolphin kicks. So we do that. And another one is for the kids who tend to do butterfly with their elbows in first. It enters first, which is not allowed. We tend to do a clapping drill. We make them exit as high as possible, clap, and just enter. So that is one of the things we do for butterfly to get them to have a proper entry. The rhythm of the butterfly, the kick timing, the kick pull rhythm, trust me, not all the swimmers get it in one shot. It's a lot of practice, a lot of dolphin kicks, and you will be able to get them to do it. Again, what we also do is make them see their videos, and we show them videos of other swimmers. And that's one of the things that has helped us a lot by having movie days or world championship videos on YouTube. We just produce that and we have them look at those videos, and we try to instantly stop and pause certain areas and we explain it to them, and they get to see these things. Progressions and corrections. Most common beginner mistakes: head popping. Like I said, you have that with the backstroke. In the freestyle, they move with the head. You have that in the breaststroke when they exit, inhale, bend knees and kicking. A lot of young kids tend to kick with their knees. They kick with their knees. That is one of the mistakes. Stiff ankles, as I said, a lot of swimmers have stiff ankles. It's easy to correct. Fins help a little bit. A lot of stretches work as well, the older they get. Short strokes, a lot of swimmers, not only do they not have high elbow, they tend to just enter here and catch. So short strokes and splash kicking. So when we were young, our coach used to say, imagine eating a lot of pepper and you're gonna kick hard. So what we used to do, we just that was a fun thing he would say, but he used to say kick hard and kick high as possible. So a lot of swimmers, we all used to kick with our feet out of the water, splashing as much as possible. But we never realized that the more we were splashing, the more air we were kicking instead of kicking underwater. So I only learned that when I became a coach. So when I used to swim, what they used to teach us, like splash and kick as high as possible, not as hard as possible, but as high as possible. So we made those mistakes by kicking high out of the water and not literally hard. And again, I learned something from swimming going into coaching, and today we tend to have the kids not kick high but really kick hard and move their have ankle flexibility, work from the core, hips, and kick. So that is one of the mistakes you see with the kids. Correction methods: hands-on correction, safe and professional, visual demonstration, slow motion teaching, using analogies. One thing about slow motion teaching, I also do mirror teaching. So I tend to be a mirror and have the swimmer in front of me. And I tell the swimmer, no, I'm not the mirror, sorry, correction. I'm the swimmer and they're the mirror. So they have to mirror me. So I slowly move my arms and the swimmer has to slowly move their arms according to how I am doing it. And once you see that mistake, you tell him to stay in that position, him or her, stay in that position, and then show them your arm and let them look at their arm. And then they will see that they're not doing the same effect or same movement like you are, because they're supposed to be the mirror. So I myself like to do the mirror training. Slow motion teaching is good, but I feel I have more effect on lately, more results on the mirror training as well. So I would recommend that if you haven't done it yet, try it out. It's pretty good. All right. Session structures or structure: 60-minute example, 10-minute warm-up, mobility plus water confidence. You'll have a 15-minute kicking foundation, a 20-minute technique learning, stroke of the day. Of course, we have a program set out for our kids, and we have the kids before we start. Let me put it this way: before we start, we discuss with the kids what we're going to do, and that happens mostly while we're stretching and all that stuff. And once we start, we add in the foundation, the kicking foundation, the 20-minute learning techniques. We have a stroke of the day, and then we work with that. So sometimes you can have 2 days with the same stroke and then switch over to the next stroke the next day, but have a refresher. Like, always bring back the stroke that you've done so that they do not forget the techniques you've been working on. A 10-minute drill progression. So you have the progression drills done, and 5-minute evaluation. Out, of course, when they have questions or if you need to explain something extra, because you're working with a team and not with one swimmer. So sometimes you need to evaluate 2 or 3 swimmers. Sorry. So this is what a 60-minute session would look like with us. However, these would be the 10 and unders. The older they get, the longer the session. Sometimes there will be 10-year-olds who are really good enough to be swimming with the 11 and up, 11, 12-year-olds. But we do not make them go beyond 1 hour and 20 minutes max. Once we see they have that potential, we keep it to 1 hour and 20 minutes max. Communication, motivation, and ethics. Positive reinforcement structure. Correct. Encourage and correct. Sorry. Goldwater phrases that work with kids, keeping parents' expectations realistic. Special approach for shy swimmers. Now, I used to have a swimmer. I first got him. I had no clue what was wrong with the swimmer, and the parent approached me and said, "I would like my son to learn swimming training and become a competitive swimmer." And she said, "But he does not talk much." So I was like, "Sure, don't worry. You could bring him to the pool and we'll work with him." So the first day he came to the pool deck, he actually did not come up to us. He was waiting approximately 500 meters away from us, and he was sitting alone. And when the training started, he just walked up, changed, dove in, didn't talk to the coaches, nothing. I noticed he did that for 1 whole week. And then I contacted the parent. I said, "I've noticed that your son stays away from everybody, the whole team, and only when the session starts, he walks on over, puts his bag, clothes, everything, and then dives in and swims. He does not say a word." So the parent actually never told us he was dyslexic. And it was a form of dyslexia. And he never allowed anybody to touch him, tap him, talk to him. He didn't talk, never wanted anybody to correct him by touching his hands. So it was one of the difficult things. But one of the things, what kept me, I took that as a challenge. One day I spoke to him and I told him, "I need you to correct your arm." And the fun part is when he did it, he turned back and looked at me and said, "Did I do it good?" And I said, "Yeah, well, you could do it again. And then let's see if you're doing it good again, because you cannot just do it once and say it's perfect." So he did it again, and he then looked at me and said, "What do you think?" So in my head, I was like, he's communicating. After 2 weeks, I got to hear the boy's voice and he's communicating. From that, I got to encourage him to come here, come and sit down with the team. Believe it or not, today, and we're talking about 15 years later, he is actually my physiotherapist for the team. And he's at an age where he actually teaches the kids, and if there's something wrong with one of my swimmers, he helps us out. And we encourage the kids to do it the right way, and we have to correct them, encourage them. And if I had told him, "Oh no, it's not good, you did it wrong," there could have been that was not correcting and not encouraging. So maybe that could have shut him down and he wouldn't have continued, and I wouldn't have had him as a physiotherapist for the team as well. So it's how the approach is to your athletes and what you could do. And in the long run, it worked out. Ethics and coaching behavior. Respect, patience, zero favoritism. Managing emotional swimmers, professional boundaries always, how to report concerns within a club. Respect, patience, and zero favoritism. Favoritism is one of the things that really happens. When you have a team of 30 or 40 swimmers and you realize that there's this one swimmer that could be the best in the whole region or the best in the country, the coaches tend to spend a lot of time with that swimmer and correct that one specific swimmer, which actually you're losing your other swimmers to listen to you, they get demotivated, and some of them even quit because there's favoritism. Um, that is one of the things you always have to uh, pay attention to, because it is something that reoccurs. Sometimes I'm not gonna say that I never had a good swimmer and did not pay attention. Yes, but I realized that it has an effect on other swimmers as well, and you might lose a whole team, or sometimes 3, 4 good swimmers because you are focusing only on that one specific swimmer. Managing emotional swimmers, in my eyes, most of the swimmers are emotional because they have they have their school. Some of them have, believe it or not, nowadays a boyfriend or a girlfriend. Uh, they do not know how to manage school with swimming, and then comes the part where you have a lot of parents that want to force their kids to swim when they love another sport. Now, you have all these things to deal with as a coach as well. And that I could tell you how, but I think you will have to deal with it in your own way, because every parent's different, every swimmer is different. And of course, it's the situations you get, how you handle it with the parents and talk to the parents about it. Professional boundaries always. I remember I had an opportunity to coach in Boston, and I did not take that job, that opportunity, because it in the contract it was written that if you're coaching a female or a male, you are not allowed to touch the athlete, or you would get sued for touching the child. Um, I think that for me was difficult, as I come from a country where we tend to help the kids by holding their hands and elbows. I do have a female coach present at Pool Deck, so I tend to let her handle the female athletes. And when we're discussing some stuff, I feel that she's in charge of the females and the male coaches of the male swimmers. And always keep it professional. Do not. It's not only about the physical touch or how you talk to that, but also you can't be behaving like a little kid or a young boy or a young female coach talking about your personal life, and it's strictly professional how you walk and talk at the full deck, and how you behave in front of the athletes. How to report concerns within a club. Not sure how your club looks like or what the structure is within the club there. Over here, we have a board, we have a commission. So mostly when something goes wrong, we report into the commission. If the commission's not able to solve it, the board is there to solve our issues. So there is a specific structure how we handle our issues, and I think every team needs to have a specific way of handling situations. All right, that I think we've reached the level 2 swimming course. So level 1 was for you guys here attending. I'm not sure if you guys will be attending level 2.
Yes, yes. Guys,
Yes,
can you open your windows?
I
Can
have.
you open your
Yes,
windows, guys?
okay.
Hello? Can you open your windows? Okay. We are now proceeding to level 2. We are now proceeding to level 2. Okay. Materno, swimmer, Paulo Azarcon. We are now proceeding to level 2. Okay. Coach, we proceed.
All right. Hold on a second. I am gonna open the slide here. I think, hold on a second. All right. Level 2. Advanced theory and performance preparation. This is important, one of the most important things as being a coach. Again, this is how Goldwater works. Each team, each club, each coach, everybody's different. So feel free to send in your questions and so I can answer as we're busy with this. Hold on a second. Level 2. Course overview. So you have the advanced stroke correction, race analysis, speed development, training planning, biomechanics, athlete management, ethics, and professionalism. This is where we, at least I, as a coach, especially when we work with Goldwater, we tend to really then take it to the next level, and we focus detailed, literally detailed. And that is something that we like to work on. Every swimmer, we don't overlook a single swimmer when it's got to do with this. Teach clean techniques first. Speed comes naturally. Now, if I would not work on techniques, we will never get the right. We will have the speed, yes, but in the long run, techniques is one of the most important thing, because if you're not going to swim fast with the right techniques, you will never be able to continue on for longer than a 100 or 200 meters. That's how my policy and philosophy used to be and still is. Of course, every coach has a different approach to it, but this is one of our main concerns: techniques. Advanced biomechanics is body line efficiency, reducing frontal drag, using buoyancy and alignment, proper core activation in every stroke. And this is really important, especially when I say the body alignment and the core activation is the one thing we all work with. Now, as you grow older in swimming, and once we reach the 11, 12 age group, going like 11 going to 13, we tend to also work with core workouts on the pool deck, outside the pool. And sometimes we do certain sets where we do sculling, and we tell them to skull on their back, but then their feet should be out of the water, and then they skull, and then they're actually engaging the core. So we do some core workouts in the pool, but also out of the water. So important for us to know is that these athletes engage the core as they're swimming. Propulsion mechanics, lift versus drag forces, stroke lengths versus stroke rates, early vertical forearm, hip driven versus shoulder driven rotation. Now, these things are really important as you're working with athletes, and female or male, and you will see that there's sometimes similarities, but most of the times you will see a difference between a male and a female athlete. Some of the males could do something, they're stronger, the females could be a little more flexible, and then you'll be able to realize and detect certain things. One of the things that swimmers tend to do is splash a lot. We need clean swimming, catch the the water as good as possible. Stroke length, keep your arms long, but the stroke rate. So you have these tempo trainers where you could put it on your cap or under your ear, and you'll hear a beeping sound, and you can change the stroke rate of the athlete. So we use them and we change the stroke rate. We do not start fast. We always start slow. So they work on that specific pace, and it has a beeping sound. However, the faster they go, they need to swim. The stroke rate changes, but they need to swim clean. And that was one of the things, creating less drag for yourself and lesser waves. Hip driven versus shoulder driven. A lot of swimmers tend to, when as they're swimming with the hip rotation, you would see one side that moves higher up and the other side there's no rotation. Shoulder rotation, one arm goes sidewards, one goes up. All those things are really important as you're going to start doing the training sessions. How do you change it? You could change the shoulder rotations. We tend to have the swimmers put their hands on the kickboard. Let's consider this a kickboard. We put our hand on one, put some force on it, and rotate with the arm, swimming freestyle, but not having the arm tap the kickboard, but it needs to go as far as possible and catch. Same thing with the other arm. You will automatically see that the swimmer has a stronger and a weaker arm. And then comes the best part. How do you correct that as well? Advanced kicking physics, propulsive surface area, kick tempo variations, dolphin kick from the core. A lot of swimmers don't use their core when they're kicking, and they need to kick from the core, and especially as you're doing the dolphin kicks. What we tend to tell the athletes is that more dolphins you do, the better it is for you, because it's the least resistance you can get. So we educate them on that part as well. We tend to have these kids do, we try to have them break out at 15 meters. So we don't, during the training sessions, with the dolphin kicks. So that's really, really important. And when we continue on with the kicks and vertical kicks, we let them do dolphins 15 and then vertical kicks to the wall, everything with the core, engage the core, right? So I would recommend, when you do this core kicking and engaging the core, you could start educating them from the age of 11, and we teach them that. But 10 and under, I wouldn't recommend yet. They need to learn to do the right stroke techniques. But as they grow older, we tend to add extra things for them, so they know that it's more thinking, more working. It's swim smart and not really do the wrong techniques during the training. Is practice good habits. That's our policy. Advanced stroke correction, freestyle. Sorry, just a second. You have the freestyle stroke corrections, backstroke stroke corrections, breaststroke, butterfly. I'm going to ask a question, and I would like one of the attendees to type in an answer, or everybody could do that. It's not a problem. Fixing scissor kick for the freestyle. How would you as a coach fix a scissor kick? Just answer that in the chat, please. Anyone or everyone. I'm open to seeing how you guys answer that question. How would you fix a scissor kick in freestyle? I haven't seen any answers yet. Is anyone there? Put up thumbs up. All right, I see one answer. Back and free kick alternate. All right. Anyone else? No board. That's good. All right, so you have your answer. This is one of the answers: back and free kick, alternate, and no board. Now, these are fixing a scissor kick is not as easy as we think it is. Um, Breathing timing, that's also important, which will be connected to the scissor kick, because most of the kids who have a scissor kick, they tend to breathe really high up and the whole body positioning changes. So they have this scissor kick, right? So you have to teach them the breathing, how to breathe first. As you remember in level 1, breathe first, the proper breathing techniques, and then the proper kick, which would eliminate the scissor kick. Backstroke, roll timing, shoulder roll timing, maintaining hip elevation, proper hand entry line, head stability. Breaststroke, pull, breath, kick, glide timing, body wave without excessive undulation, maintaining forward momentum, narrow explosive kick focus, butterfly, body rhythm control, hip led undulation, narrow entry for reduced drag, breathe the breath timing without lifting the head. All right, let's move on to the next slide if there are no questions. Speed training theory, explosive power development, race pace refinement, tempo and turnover control, breathing reduction strategies. Now, number 4, breathing reduction strategies. There's a lot of talk about as you sprint the 50 meters, should you breathe, or as you're sprinting 50 and 100 meters, should you breathe or not breathe? Of course, in 100, it's difficult to not breathe because it's 2 laps of a 50-meter pool or 4 laps of a 25-meter pool. However, as you see, have you been paying attention to World Championships and the Olympics, is that a lot of swimmers tend to not breathe in a 50-meter sprint. It is one or none. And that is one of the most interesting things, because they hold their breath and race. And that's pretty cool, pretty interesting. And I've seen a lot of swimmers change from breathing every stroke to no breathing in a 50. However, it depends on every swimmer. Explosive power development. These will only happen, or these workouts are at your training. How do you do it? Not only in the pool, but out of the pool. You have the dryland sessions, you have the pool sessions. Now, dryland explosive power development, we take the medicine balls on the dryland and we just hold them up and toss them down. So explosive. We do a lot more workouts on the dryland the older they get. We have the ropes. We do there are a lot of workouts on dryland. In the pool, we have the explosive trainings, short dynamic. We have the 15 meters and 10 meters explosive sets. Race pace refinement. These sets are different. We have different type of athletes, of course. You have the 100s and the 200 meters. And then we have to use those sets and how we train them in those sets. So race pace is really important. Those sets, depending on what type of athletes we have. Tempo and turnover control. Of course, when I as a coach, I do tend to focus currently on a lot of 200 meters, and the tempo and turnover control is different for me, at least as a coach, and for the 100s, it's different. So always study your athlete before you do any sessions and how you're going to do the sessions. You need to know at a certain point if that swimmer is a sprinter, a swimmer is a mid-distance swimmer, and how you're going to write the workout. These are really important. A race preparation and analysis. We start reaction development, entry angle, maximize travel distance while keeping speed, underwater phase, breakouts, the mid-race efficiency, turn technique, rotating timing, push-off alignment, streamline quality, breakout timing, and the final sprint. So when I work with young kids, I normally talk about, and when I'm just like 10 and unders, it's mostly fundamentals, but what we always do is we tell them the beginning, the turn, and the finish is the most important. So as you dive in, how you start, your body positioning, we always focus on that. We watch them do their turn, the flip turn, and how they finish the last 5 meters. So what we tend to do with the young ones, we tell them the last 5 meters to the wall, try not to breathe. They're pretty young, they learn, the older they get, they implement that, they make it longer. Instead of 5, they do 10 meters because they challenge themselves. The older they get, 11 and over, we then focus not only on the dives, but we also focus on the dolphins in the underwater phase, like how much time do they spend underwater? How good is their kick? How hard is their kick? What can we do to make them go faster? Breakout and race to the wall, flip turn is really important. But on the way back, that is when most of the swimmers, they mentally shut down and they actually reduce their speed. Once they reduce their speed, then you know that it is lactate or there's something is wrong, or mentally they're breaking down. So it is the mid-race efficiency is really important. What happens in the race? Once they finish after the turn and they head off to the wall, at older age, we tend to make them sprint the last 10 to 15 meters, finalizing really hard. So that is one of the things how we work with these swimmers. And the race analysis essentials are stroke count, the stroke rate, the splits, the turn, time, and efficiency. So we actually focus on the stroke count, which we also let the athletes do. At the younger age, we make them count their strokes. And then the challenge is, how many strokes do you do from wall to wall? Sometimes we even have a challenge where we put water into their goggles and let them swim. Because during a race, anything could happen, and we add water into it. So they lose stroke count in that when they do that. Because there's water, they can't see, struggle. Sorry. So the stroke rate, stroke count, really important, but we always add some challenges to it and make it fun, but it's challenging. Of course, we have to keep it safe. So we always have swimmers in the pool guiding them out just in case they can't see, so that if they're swimming wrong, we stop them and we hold it there, because we do not want them to hit their head on the wall or have a collision with something. So that's one of the things we do, safety first. But we do these challenges for sure. And that's where we see how the athletes react to sudden calamities during a race. When they dive in and the goggle is not good and water goes in, and what happens after that? They still need to race. And how do you race? That's really important. So we put those in our sessions as well. Training planning, your microcycles, sorry, Monday technique and aerobic base, Tuesday speed focus, Wednesday is kick and efficiency training, Thursday is race base, Friday is IM and endurance, Saturday turns and underwater work, Sunday rest. So this is one program for one group of athletes. I have several different athletes, and theirs is different with a different coach. We have for some of them Monday stroke technique, Tuesday stroke technique, Wednesday kick efficiency and stroke technique, and so on. So they'll be focused on 1 week only on technique.
Coach.
Yes, go ahead.
Coach. Yeah,
Yes.
I have a question, Coach.
Okay, go
Okay.
ahead.
Yeah. We are talking about what age group, or we're talking about the college level, or we're talking about
Age group.
age group. Okay. Uh,
Yes. Yeah.
Coach, for example, here in the Philippines, it's UAAP and NCAA is the
Mm-hmm.
biggest. Okay, but
Okay.
unlike USA, there is
Mm-hmm.
D1, D2, and D3. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
but um, here in the Philippines,
Mm-hmm.
um, I was the one pushing with the idea to, for example, it's palaro. If the kid is about 7 events, that's
Mm-hmm.
equal for 7 trials, then 7 finals. It's a
Okay.
total of 14 events. Okay,
Okay.
so in order for them to be used on on that 17 events, okay,
Yeah.
which is uh that's 14 events,
Yeah.
7 trials, 7 finals.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I told them, uh try to go for 3 months or 6 months that you're doing the events of the competition, which is
Mm-hmm.
the 7 events in the morning of trials and 7 events in the afternoon of finals. So you're
Okay.
trying to simulate the 4 days, and your aerobic or your recovery will be the 3 days itself. So what do you think of that about that?
Well, it depends. So, okay, listening to what you're saying right now is it sounds pretty challenging, but if first of all, if we had that here, we need to know what part of the year, how do we implement our training? Because I was talking about the cycles, right? So as a coach, you need to plan your cycles properly. So micro, macro, meso, all that stuff. But depending on where you're going to implement this program, so as a coach, you should know your program, right? So if
Yeah,
you have this specific event that you're talking about with the 14 events, 7 trials in the morning and 7 finals at night, if I'm correct,
yeah.
I need to
Palaron,
train
that's
to that
Palaron
specific
Pambansa.
event. And
Yeah.
important for me is to know when is that event, because if that event is now, I wouldn't be doing techniques,
Yeah.
right? So we have to work with the calendar. So if give me an example, this event that you're talking about, when would it be?
That is normally once a year, Palarong Pambansa. That's elementary and high school. Then once a year, October or November, that's NCAA and UAAP. So
Mhm.
normally, that's the biggest events that they are doing
Okay.
here locally.
Okay, so if I look at this specific program, or at least the date you're giving me, October, November. Um, I'm just gonna just take it one step back. In Suriname, our season starts in October, November. Oh, September they're totally off, right? But with Goldwater, I've been doing the international standards, so we actually swim in September. and then they would have been ready for this specific event. Now, with that being said, I wouldn't be doing techniques in September if I wanted them to have a peak performance in October. And that's my opinion. Then my season would start differently, and I would start with the technique and drills, and then pick up the pace of our training way later. Well, what you as coach, what did you do?
No. Here, I'm a coach in the Philippines.
Yes, but as
So,
a coach, what would you do as a coach?
for uh, pardon, please.
Mm-hmm.
Normally, I'm holding college level and elites,
Uh-huh.
so that is my style. But
Okay.
the high school, which is really good, that's it. But for the weak ones, I'm not really holding the weak swimmers because I don't want to argue with the parents. So
Well, so here's
normally,
the thing. So you just stated something that's really important. You just said the word parents. The
Mhm.
parents are always going to be there.
Yeah, yes.
It's one of the biggest challenges for us as coaches.
Mhm.
No hard feelings to any parent, because every parent wants their child to be,
Yeah,
up there. And
yeah.
I would always want to dedicate time to all the swimmers. However, like you said, you're working on one specific group. I do the same as well. I work on one specific group. I can't focus on all levels at one time as one coach. So I have a coaching staff that works with one group. I do another, and so we have it's split. The work is split amongst us, and we know where we want to get them. Having the parents come to us after the sessions and ask us, why isn't my son in your group? Then it's up to me. I mean, I as a coach have to answer the right way and say that, for example, he's not ready yet for that specific event. However, in my head, I could prepare him for another event that is good for your son or daughter, right? So the parents are always going to be there. It's how we answer them, and what's beneficial for the kid. Because if you wouldn't want to have a child that isn't that strong enough attending these big meets, and it could, two things could lead to it. You could discourage the athlete, or your and the other part is that the parents will come down to you and say that you haven't been doing a good job. So um, for me, I split the job with different coaches, and we have different targets and goals for specific athletes. So not all programs are set for the whole team. So one part of the team does program A, one part of the team does B and C. Now, coming down to your question about that specific event, then I have a nice question though. How did you prepare them for that specific event, and how many months prior to did you get them ready for that event?
Oh, uh, if normally I don't prepare. The elites are not prepared for that event. We are preparing. For example, there's a batch for Asian Games.
Okay.
There's a batch for Sea Games.
Yeah.
The the elites, which is bound for Sea Games or
Yeah.
bound for Asian Games,
Yeah.
are not gonna taper just for NCAA. For me, I don't
Exactly.
taper them on for the NCAA because what's the use? Okay,
Exactly.
you're thinking big time. You're not thinking about small time. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm going to be honest with you. I have
Mm,
coached age groupers,
mhm.
and I have coached elites. It is really difficult for that transition, but once you get into it, then see, Suriname is pretty small. Suriname is not like the Philippines or most of the countries in Asia. So what we have here is 95% are age groupers. It is just 5% that reach the elite level, and most of them train in the US. My athlete trained in the US as well, and then I think during there was a certain period he was just training with me, but he would go often back to the US to train.
That's why Anthony Nesty. Anthony
Anthony
Nesty.
Nesty,
Yeah.
Anthony Nesty he was my senior. I was his junior. However, during the Olympics 2016, if you see the opening ceremony, I was walking right next to Anthony Nesty. I looked way different back then, of course. And I was walking next to Anthony Nesty, and it was actually a privilege walking next to him. Learned a lot from him, of course. But it was pretty strange to see me standing as the head coach during that Olympics, and Anthony was just not the head coach at that one. It felt weird, of course, coming from such an experienced and big athlete, and they had put me down as the head coach for that team. Now that specific athlete at the Olympics, that was his first Olympics, and trust me, it was a big learning experience for both of us. That is, for the athlete and for me as well. We had done Pan American Games. We had done the Central and South American Championships where he got third. And then at the Pan Am Games, he was not even ranked into the finals. But he had qualified for the Olympics. Now, that was our first Olympic ever. What we learned in those first 4 years actually shaped up my next 4 years. Our training pattern changed. We had a whole different target. So what we wanted to do is change his training techniques, change his style, speed dynamics, and then the program changed. So we didn't, like what you said, we did not taper for certain events. And one of the biggest results we got out of that was that the Central and South American Championships, where he first received the bronze a few years before that, prior to the Olympics, we took a gold at the next one. And then in the South American Championships, he took the gold as well. So we stopped tapering at certain competitions, and then we started just aiming for that specific event where we wanted to take those medals. It's a learning experience, and that's why I kept like saying in the course that as coaches are going to be working with athletes, they're going to be learning as well, and it all happens through writing down and keeping a logbook as well. And that's what I learned in the whole process. It's not as easy as it is, having a course and working in real life. You will see the differences. You will experience different athletes with different approaches and all obstacles in between. So I do understand where what you're getting at, but in this case, what I was talking about was age groupers, but I could also throw in the elite athletes, which is very different compared to age group training.
All right, coach. I got it.
Yeah. All right.
I hope the participants are. Hello, guys. Wake up. Okay.
Yeah, I think it's pretty. What time is it over there?
Yeah, it's already 11:30.
All right, we're gonna finalize this whole thing. I wish the attendees could ask questions though.
Hey guys, don't hesitate. Okay, it's an opportunity for you to ask questions.
They
Okay.
should ask questions. Feel free. And one thing for sure, after this course, if they want to be in touch with me, or with, like, if they have questions and they want to reach out to me as well, they can feel free to do that as well. So that's all fine with me.
Who among you guys are swimmers here? Okay, Matar Navaya is a swimmer.
Okay, and so as a swimmer attending this, is
Who among
there
you
should
here
be,
are swimmers?
so a swimmer
Swimmers
that
before. Who among you guys are swimmers before? Okay. I think mostly our coaches now.
all right. So let's finalize this because I know they must be exhausted. How long have they been online?
Since 8:30.
Since 8:30. Wow, they must be really exhausted.
Yeah.
All right.
Paolo,
So
yeah, 1997, he is a swimmer, Materna Baya. And Paolo Azarcon is actually a strength and conditioning coach.
all right, all right. Okay, so strength and conditioning coach. All right. So they could reach out to me anytime. We could have a conversation. They can ask questions, approaches, anything. I'm open to all coaches. I've worked with so many coaches, especially South American, Caribbean, coaches from Africa. They can throw out the questions they need. Of course, for us to just finalize, I'm gonna look for the most important thing to finalize this because I know I don't want them to doze off right here. All right, so athlete management. We have the behavior management, structure with respect, encourage based correction, creating a confident training environment, motivation strategies, clear goals, simple instructions, measurable improvements, consistent feedback patterns, parent communication, setting realistic expectations, avoiding side coaching, keeping progress transparent. This one is really important for all coaches, especially as you're going to be experiencing this. Trust me. Coaching ethics, fair treatment of all athletes, professional boundaries, zero tolerance for harassment or misconduct, athlete centered development, protect athlete mental and emotional well being. So, that would be it actually. If there's anything the coaches need, want to know, I'm always available. And that would be the course actually, based on the Gold Waters experiences and what we've been working with for the last, I think, since 2013. So Goldwater Sports has been there for about 12 years now, and this is out of all the research work what we've been doing. That's what we were able to discuss.
Hey, Coach. Yeah, yes. Can I ask some questions from you? I
Yes,
was just
go
going
ahead.
to ask you a little bit about your life and what type of team do you coach? What type of facility are you in? What's your
Okay.
city like? How many kids swim in your area? Things like that.
Okay, so this is pretty interesting. I am a coach in Suriname, and when I started off with my first team, where actually Anthony Nesty came from, that's where I used to swim as well. We had when I became a coach, we had in total I had 107 swimmers in that team, from the age of 5 going up to the age of 19. It's 107. Somehow I made a move because I felt I wasn't growing in that whole process. It just was standard, and I had different challenges, but the team had a different mindset and a goal where they were making 10 and under sprint and win only gold medals. And I grew out of that because I was educating myself and reading all about sprinting with young kids. And in the long term, there was going to be burnouts. So I moved out to another team which had 14 swimmers, and 14 as in 14 swimmers, and which grew up to 67 swimmers right prior to COVID. That was club swimming. In the meantime, I was also coaching the national team for Suriname. Suriname has a population of max, I think 700,000, 750,000, out of which swimming community is pretty small. And we are actually, I think, 300 active swimmers. So active professional swimmers. And from there on out, I have been working with elite athletes in Suriname, but in the region as well. So in 2000, after the Olympics, 2021, Japan, I represented Curacao in the World Championships in Abu Dhabi. So I worked with Curacao a little bit. I started the first youth national team of St. Kitts and Nevis, age groupers. They had no pool, so it was all built into the ocean. Two platforms in the ocean, and then they hired me to go in and help these kids develop into the sport. And then, yeah, I've been helping. This is my job. I work with swimmers in the Caribbean region, South America. So on the whole, right now, my team, OASA, that is pretty small, but we work on quality. So we're growing again because right after COVID, a lot of swimmers stopped. So we're building the team back up. And right now, currently, I am the director of Goldwater Sports, but I'm also the director of Learn to Swim Facility, which is the Wave Rider Swim Club, where we have young kids learn how to swim, and from there on out, we move them into competitive swimming. So learn to swim to competition swimming. That's in Suriname.
And is it in the capital city or?
Oh, Paramaribo, yes, in the capital city.
And what's the pool like? What's your facilities like?
So the Dolphin, this is where I started with the same team of Anthony Nesti. That used to be a 5-lane, but that is now currently a 10-lane pool, 10-lane, 25-meter pool. The OASA Swimming Club, where I am, I'm the technical advisor. I used to be the head coach, but now I'm the technical advisor for that team. That is a 5-lane, 25-meter pool. We only have one 50-meter pool here in Suriname, which is a 6-lane. And my facility, where I have 2 pools, one is a little bit longer, so it could be 24, 25 meters, and one of, I think, 15 meters. And that's where our Learn to Swim is done. So that's a different facility as well.
Is it always outdoors? Is there any indoors? Are they
All
covered?
pools are outdoors.
Yes, yes. And then
All
are there
our pools are outdoors.
are there a lot of tourists in your city, or not so much these days?
No, not much, but Goldwater Sports, we tend to throw out flyers to Europe and all that stuff, and Asia. I think I was pretty close to getting India down here to come and train with me, and they would. So it's what we do is we have training sessions in a 25-meter pool, but besides training, we do a tour for the athletes, so they get everything. We have a proper gym, training facility, pool training and gym facility, and then from there on out, we take them for these tours, so they get to learn something about Suriname, because not everybody knows about Suriname. It's a pretty small place.
Now, if I'm visiting your nation and I only speak English,
Yes.
would I have a difficulty with the languages?
At this time in this time of in the world, we do speak English here. First of all, you have me, so you're gonna move around pretty well. But we used to, it's a Dutch speaking country, but a lot of people now speak English. You would be surprised with how many people here speak English. And we do have foreigners, expats, and all that stuff. So the club where I am the technical advisor of is a lot of expats, and you would feel home. Everybody will make you feel at home. It's an English speaking. We do speak English, but Dutch is the main language.
And what about swimming in the schools? Do any of the schools have pools?
No.
Nothing. And
Nothing. I tried to implement that years ago by having, I did have a meeting with the Minister of Sport, and I wanted to introduce learn to swim from schools, and then from there we would send them to teams and build it out to the national team. I had this whole plan set out, and she came up with a minor issue, and that would be our schools wouldn't work along with that program, because we have school here till about 1 o'clock, 1:30, and there was no transport available to have these kids go and train in the morning and all that stuff. So it just didn't work.
okay. And then are there swimming in natural bodies of water? And tell us a little bit about where you were the age group coach at St. Kurt. How far is that? That's a plane ride, I imagine. How long is that travel?
Oh, you mean the
or-
islands? Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, so I have worked in, I have hosted clinics in St. Lucia, Grenada, St. Kitts, St. Kitts, and oh my God, Guyana. So Guyana is our neighboring country. French Guiana is our neighboring country. One speaks French, one speaks English. So I've been to my neighboring countries to host clinics, but the other islands are flights away. Like you have to take approximately St. Lucia, I need to take 2 flights. St. Kitts as well, 2 flights. It's a flight to Trinidad and Tobago, and then from there on out to the other islands. So we're talking about half a day travel. So you leave at 5 in the morning and you're there about 3 o'clock in the afternoon.
That's expensive to do those flights?
So it's not, because it's in our package deal. However, if I just had to travel from here to, let's say, St. Kitts and Nevis, I think the ticket amount would be approximately $650.
Okay. I'm just trying to get some understanding context as to how it works. And then with your age group team, do they travel just inside the city, or do they ever go to
So we have competitions. We have competitions in Suriname. So every month there is a like club to club, like we compete against each other. However, I do have a program where, as a technical director for OASA swimming team, we will be going, at least I will be going to St. Lucia in April with a swimmer or 2 to compete. That is age group swimmer, age group swimming, sorry. And we'll be heading there for those competitions. And what some of the kids, what we do as Goldwater, we bring in international coaches and swimmers to host clinics for us in Suriname. So in March, I have Dylan Carter from Trinidad coming down to Suriname to host a clinic for us.
Is there any-
Guys, I hate to say this, but
Okay.
we are really counting minutes.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah, it's getting
problem.
late.
We really need to finish it.
Do you play any water polo?
No problem.
Any water
I used
polo?
to. I used to play, but I had a huge injury with my knee, so I can't do water polo anymore.
But is there a team in your area? Do they practice or no?
We do practice. It's a very small team. We do practice, but we're not expanding. We want to make this grow internationally as well, where we could travel with the water polo team as well. So
Okay.
that is something that we're going to try and build up next year.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you so much for giving us your time and your expertise, and we wish you the best and staying safe.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Coach, is that all, or do you have something more to say?
I'm all good.
Okay.
The coaches, the athletes, they could reach out to me anytime. I have written, I have my own Goldwater swim guide. It's a book. I will send it free to them for them to read the swim guide. But they can reach out anytime and ask any information if they want to about swimming. So
Okay, Coach, there's a question. Okay.
Yeah.
If you're trying to use a distance swimmer, okay, normally the distance swimmer, they're thinking about how marathon athletes are doing. So marathon athletes normally does thin bodies, okay, to execute much of the the distance as a
Mhm.
distance swimmer.
Yes.
Okay. What is your opinion on that?
For a marathon swimmer,
Yeah, marathon swimmer or 1,500 swimmer.
so to be honest, I've been a coach for 400-meter swimmers and not many. I've not had many 1,500 or 1.5K or marathon swimmers. But one thing for sure is that their training sessions need to be at least up to 10K or something per day if they want to have the specific time and all that stuff they want to, like their goals they want to reach. Their endurance level needs to be really high and stroke rate as well. So for me, training at 1,500 or a 10K swimmer, it's not only about swimming, it's also about what they consume and how much rest they get and what their daily schedule is. So that's one of my opinions for these 10K swimmers.
Yeah, so you don't oppose the style of the other coaches that they tend to do the copycat of the marathon athletes in running. So they do the marathon swimmers or the distance
Mhm.
swimmers on they tend to make the body lean, okay,
Yes.
really thin, okay, since they're counting.
So here's the thing about swimming now. Here's the
Yeah,
thing about swimming. I have banned all my athletes from becoming huge and bulky. All my
yeah,
athletes need to be lean and strong. So
yeah,
Popovici is one of the main examples.
yeah,
And if you look at the previous World Championships and Olympics, we see that athletes are stepping out of being bulky and all these big biceps and triceps. And same thing for open water swimmers and long distance swimmers. Lean is the thing, and it's actually how much water you catch and how strong you are.
very good. Now, but if you try to compare Michael Phelps when he made the four golds, okay, he was about 180 pounds at
Yes,
6'3", 6'3" or 6'1".
yes,
Yeah, so 180 pounds is heavy for a distance swimmer of 400 IM.
yeah. But
Uh,
Michael Phelps is actually you could say extraordinary. There's nothing going to be like Michael Phelps in my eyes. I was there at the Olympics when I saw Michael Phelps. He did
yeah,
a 200 fly, and the guy gets out of the pool from the prelims, and the coach tells him that was a good job. We'll finalize this in the finals. And he looks at his coach and he goes, "No, I don't think I did good." And he was showing his coach what his arms had to look like. And the best part is that he he went back into the pool after the prelim and he was practicing a better stroke. So one of the things on Michael Phelps is that his wingspan was different, his body was different, everything was different about Michael Phelps. I don't think the weight was the concern for Michael Phelps. He was just exclusive.
okay, okay.
Oh, I see a question here
So
though. How do you balance endurance, speed, and technique work in a single plan? Depending on your athlete, for sure. I mean, I see the name Eric, I guess. Eric, it depends on your athlete. First of all, endurance level. If you balance endurance, speed, and technique work in a single plan, that is really difficult because first of all, you need to start with first full endurance training. Then, sorry, let me correct that. Work on your techniques, build it up into endurance, and then the speed, right? So any athlete that wants to grow older, you need to have then the stroke rate, you need to know his endurance level, you need to see his threshold level. So all this comes in between, and also this question you have Could you tell me for which specific athlete, the age group approximately? Is it, how old would the athlete be? I see Erica is he there?
Yes, I'm
Eric?
here. Yes, sir.
Oh, hi, Eric.
Age group.
Oh, it's an age group. So
Yes, sir.
here goes Eric. First of all, when you balance it all in one training plan, first of all, you need to work with the techniques first. Now, if you're going to work with age groupers and they don't have the proper technique, you need to set the technique straight first, and then you build up the endurance with the correct techniques, and then you implement the speed into it. Now, having it all in one training program, that doesn't happen overnight. You have to see to it that the kid is, of course, 11 and over once you're going to do this. Once my swimmers at the age of 11, 12 are only doing endurance with the right technique. I do not have them sprinting until the end of a session, like the last maybe 10, 15 minutes of my session, they're sprinting. Once they reach the 13, 14, I implement more speed work, and it gives me an idea what type of swimmer he is or she is. If it's a mid distance, a sprinter, and that's when I start implementing everything into it. So I hope this is some of your answer, because you need to know your age of the swimmer, the gender, that's important, the build of the swimmer. Is it 10 and under? Is it 11, 12, 13 over? All this counts. Everything counts. I hope that answers a little bit on what you want. And you can always be in touch. Always feel free to contact me and ask me any questions or work it out with you. It's all good. Don't worry. I've been working with a lot of coaches and we work it out together.
Guys, do you have any more questions? We would like to we would like to request that may open your window so we can take a picture together. Again, may I request that you may open your window so we can take a picture together. Again, Coach, we are very thankful for this opportunity that you gave us 3 hours of your time. Okay. Hannah Shireen.
Thanks for having me. I love helping. So
Hannah. Hannah Shireen, can you open your window? If you do have a laptop, please take a picture on the laptop. Okay. Everybody. Okay. There is a WSAA. Okay, which is like an NCAA in US. Okay, that's World Schools Athletic Association. Then we have John T. Skinner as our sports consultant, which is currently the consultant of US in the national team. Okay, now if it is now open and it's free, okay, for you guys to to be a member of this school games, and we're gonna be starting from athletics and swimming. Now, um, all countries are open to to register. We'll try to give a limit only for now, because we don't want to go more than 700 swimmers on the competition. Okay, so if you can possibly put in your intention that you would like to be to be included in your team, club, or school, okay, please tell me ahead of time. And we're open for all countries. And we're looking forward that Coach Mark will be helping us because he is into the competition officiating, okay, in USA, okay, and we're gonna be having. We hope Coach Yash also, the country can be part of it, okay, with regards to the competition. And we are communicating with Sir Coach Janti and Scott Volkers and other world known coaches, okay, to help us on this one, because this is an interschool, and we would like the new coaches to learn first within their area before they go to other countries. So it's an opportunity for coaches, new coaches, to be national coaches of this competition. See, again, those who are former national coaches will be only consultant. The coaches who handles their swimming team, okay, within the local competition of the WSAA, okay, will be included for the World Games, okay, and you will be an international world caliber coach if you're gonna be included on the WSAA, okay. So we will be needing the help of Coach Nash, okay, and Coach Mark out of this. So we are inviting all of you to join us. Okay, please communicate with us if you're interested, and we're trying to limit only the participants per country. Okay, thank you, Coach. We will be communicating with you with regard to your certificate. Okay, through email. Okay, Coach. Thank you, everybody.
All right.
Let's
Thank
make it
you.
a night. Okay, thank you, thank
All
you.
right.
We still
Thank you
have,
very much. God
yeah,
bless
yeah,
po.
yeah. Okay, thank you, thank you.
All right.